The apocalypse is coming. Are you scared? Are you prepared? The masses are running, frantically running from their fears, running with their tears, running from their lives, running from that dark shadow creature that hides deep inside.
And we are here. Good morning, episode 42. And I look like shit, and that's okay because it doesn't matter anyway. Because in the end, we'll end up in the dirt. Anyway, so let's get started. We're going to jump right in. We have a special message from Miguel Guerrero, all the way from France.
Yo,
good morning.
Good morning.
Well, good evening to you.
For me, but
yeah.
So here lots of things going on here in France. I'm gonna continue my World Cup thing. Sorry, I only follow football every 2 years, Euro Cup and World Cup. That's about it for me. That's my addiction. I figure for every 2 years isn't too bad.
I saw that England game yesterday, and they were like scoring on them so hard. So
that
fast.
was fucking insane.
Yes.
I have never seen that ever, a score 6-4 like that.
Mhm.
Especially because you're like, oh my God, 4-0? Like France is going out like this? Like, what's wrong with you? And I don't know what they ate at halftime, but they came out. And the best game of the tournament, for sure. I think they were saying, the coach was yelling at him, saying, you cannot go back to France with getting blown out like a team like Saudi Arabia might get blown out. Like, come on, guys. And they're like, oh, yeah. So I think it was a matter of a little bit of pride kind of kicked in.
Yeah, my son was like, they don't really care because it's the third place.
They did say that before
Mm-hmm.
the tournament, and I thought that was shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you show up to play someone, no matter what place you're playing, you should play to your best of your ability.
Yeah, people pay thousands of dollars for those stupid tickets, right?
Yeah, I mean, go out there and do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, actually, it's interesting because Mbappe is the top goal scorer in the tournament, so he might get the golden boot. Granted, if Messi doesn't score anything tonight, he's got I think he has to get 3 or something to match him. So, and I mean, this guy's already getting I'm not going to go on to Messi or too much of the Argentinian team because I have to say, kind of
that's for sure.
Well, they're kind of obnoxious. The fans are obnoxious, and we have to separate the fans from the Argentinian people. Granted, some of the Argentinians who are defending their fans being horrible instead of saying, like I would say, I know that there's a lot of racist Real Madrid fans who are fascists. I'm not going to sit there. Someone tells me, well, they're being racist. I'm like, yeah, they are. Right? Like, just own it, move on. But like I mentioned last episode, there's a thing in the Spanish culture of having pride, honor, and face. And you try to, now sometimes it's like, no, I'm not defending you on this one, but guys, you're going to have to fix it. But it has gotten political. Like tonight, we're going to have Spain versus Argentina. We do know that Israel's morally supporting Argentina. I know there's a lot of Argentinians who are not pro-Israel. Unfortunately, their government is.
Right.
Spain, the government is pro-Palestine, and they've said so. And Spain, overwhelmingly, the country is very pro-Palestinian. I've seen that in Basque Country. Basque Country, by far, is the most supportive. And the main star of the Spanish team, Lamine Yamal, who has been getting berated for his heritage of being from Equatorial Guinea, which is in Africa, and Moroccan, he's supporting Palestine. He actually, when they won the Euro Cup, and other. He actually once he held a flag. It wasn't the Euro Cup. It was another tournament they won. He held the Palestinian flag. So he's openly supporting Palestine. So for me, understanding what Lamille and his teammate Williams, who's from Ghana, are going through as immigrants there, because even though I'm, part Spanish, I'm Spanish. It's very easy to be mistaken to not be Spanish because of my phenotype, because I'm part African American.
Right.
So my loyalty to Spain isn't just necessarily the country, but it's also these young men who get an overwhelmingly amount of racism thrown their way. But there's an overwhelming lot of love that's been given to them too. So you're seeing a duality in Spain. But
Right.
on top of it, he's supporting Palestine. So my heart goes naturally to those who are willing to use their position, which we haven't seen since someone like Ali, right? Stand up and say, hey, no, this is wrong. I'm supporting Palestine. So it's strange that we live in a world in which the colonizer, or the former colonizer, Spain, is against the genocide. And
Mhm.
Argentina, which I know the people aren't, but their government is in favor of the genocide. It's a former colonized place. And that is the fucked up nature of our reality, right? You would think it'd be the other way around on so many levels. And then there's the other aspect that they rolled out. The Argentinian team, after winning against England, they rolled out a big banner. You're not supposed to do anything political. And by the way, the Palestinian flag is not political because it's an actual team, actual place. And the banner said,
And they just got statehood actually through the UN this past week. So,
oh, that's wonderful. I didn't know that. That's great. But the Argentinians unveiled a banner that said the Maldivas, which is what's called the Falkland Islands, are called in Spanish, are Argentinian. Immediately, I saw on social media people arguing both sides. Of course, more of the Spanish-speaking side, the leftists, English leftists, saying, no, it belongs to Argentina, and so on. Missing something that's actually far more sinister and far worse, especially if you speak Spanish and you follow the Spanish news. The Casa Rosado, which is the equivalent to the White House in Buenos Aires, during the whole tournament, unrolled this series of laws that they're loosening that will allow foreign ownership of Argentinian land. So while the public are looking, oh, this land is ours, Milei and his crew are literally going to sell off Patagonia to AI data centers. And this is a tragedy on so many levels.
Yeah.
And I can feel mad at the Argentinian racists. Believe me, I don't like racists, period. But on the other hand, as a human being, I could turn around and see when someone's using people's worst nature, their desire for an aggrievement that they have to distract from a reality.
Exactly. For something that's,
exactly. And it ties a lot deeper. People don't understand. Trump gave Milei $42 billion to bail him out because his friends had investments in Argentina. So, and I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories saying that Argentina has been, because they're going to win the World Cup. If I was going to say there's a conspiracy theory, it's to continue to distract the Argentinian people by keeping the team in the cup to steal from them. Remember, Peter Thiel has just moved down to Argentina. Argentina is going to be less of a sovereign state. And by using the people's pride in being sovereign against them is the dirtiest of deeds to these people.
Right.
And that's how it all ties and loops together. It's really, 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 really sad. And unfortunately, too many leftists have been arguing it belongs. It's like, that's a distraction. That's a red herring. And here's the other reason it's a red herring. Argentina under Milei sent 60% of its gold to abroad, and most of it lies in London. Argentina cannot afford a war with England.
Right.
Because they'll just go, we're fucking taking your gold. They did it to Venezuela.
Yeah, they took their gold in Venezuela. England gave them the rights to the. I was like, what the hell? How does the Bank of England give the gold of Venezuela, United States, and then also silver? They raided the silver mines when they invaded to kidnap their president.
Yep.
And
Yeah, well, the thing is that usually internationally, there's a
Mhm.
place like New York used to have it. I think it still has it. What they literally did underneath, can't remember which building it was, but literally it was like this. Okay, I owe X amount of money in this building. There's all these different countries that have their gold. We just move X amount of gold over to this one.
Right,
Then we move it to this one.
right.
So it's like a giant, it's bizarre, you know. That's unfortunately how the financial
I
world.
don't remember if you remember, but this is blurbed in my head. But I remember after the World Trade Center crashed, you had like a robbery um, of the police and the FDNY fighting over this gold. The police were trying to steal the gold that was under a bank, and the FDNY was physically fighting them. I remember it was front cover news.
I don't remember that. Wow. I'm not surprised though.
And then like history now they're saying, well, it was a bank robbery of uh, criminals dressed as cops. I was like, no, that's not true. It was actual police officers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually police officers. But it's funny like how they try to change the story.
They try to spin it.
They try to spin
Um,
it. You know.
it's all a history. That's why I think we need to study history if we can have the sources
Hmm.
from multiple different perspectives, because then you get kind of closer of a, okay, this is roughly, there's a
Hmm.
lot of history gets a lot of propaganda to
Yeah.
justify
Yes.
shit.
Especially now, it's like you go to Google or Snopes, and they're telling you like we all know that Bin Laden's family was the only one that flew out that day.
Hmm.
They were the only ones allowed to fly. But now you go on Snopes, like, no, that's an urban legend, or that's not true. It's like, wait a minute, that was true. That's on every network.
Yeah, sites like Snopes. I have my issues with
You know.
sites like Snopes. I'll give you an example where Snopes it was really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
No nuance whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Remember years ago, I was doing a language exchange. This woman from New Jersey she was living in Spain, and some people had some concerns about cell phones and cell phone radiation, right? And she was like, "Well, that's a myth, blah blah." And I said, "Well, when I was working for Bell Canada, um, there was a time at the gas stations where they actually had a little sign that said you couldn't actually use your phone
Yes.
because they're afraid of this."
Yes. It
Much
gets
younger than me, she said,
clothing.
"Oh no, that's bullshit." Looks it up on Snopes, and all of a sudden, Snopes becomes the arbiter of all this. The
Right.
reality is, you know,
It's a short.
whether it actually does cause it and whether we thought it caused it are
Right.
two separate fucking things,
Right. Right. Right.
right? And there were precautions. I think that was the same in the States. You had little signs that said, "Don't use your cell phone when you're getting gas," right?
Yeah.
Because there was a fear that it would ignite or
Right.
cause an explosion or some shit.
Just like they say now that, oh, cell phones never cause cancer. That's a myth. It's like, no, it's not. There was 100,000 articles written in Japan by Japan scientists before they brought these cell phones to the United States. It's like, and I've had a cell phone since the 90s. So I had cell phones when nobody else had cell phones. It's like a Nokia. I still have my
Yeah.
little, it's like a Woody. I call it like a Woody, like a station wagon, because it was like a wood pattern.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the old station wagons.
Right. And they knew it would cause these tumors because they were in the shape of the antenna. Like literally, the antenna shape would be inside your brain.
No, that's crazy.
That's why I
Yeah.
think they internalized the antennas because they're sending the signal out and then
Right,
imprint.
right. Yeah, no, that's crazy.
You know,
Um,
so that's real. But people are like, oh no, it's a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. People get my father had multiple tumors on his neck because he would not get off the damn phone. It's like, it's like, and he always held it to his ear. I was like, you should put it on speakerphone. He had like all these tumors. The tumors were literally growing. Like they removed them and they grew back because he kept talking on the same side.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, but then you have sites like Snopes that don't really give any sort of nuance. Like, yes, at one point this was thought, but as time went on, this happened. It's either yes or no, and
Right,
people go to it, and unfortunately, who checks the fact checkers,
right, right.
right?
Exactly.
So
And we just had two people that just went offline. I guess.
So it's not to say that they're not good sites. It's that you have to understand the nuance that goes with it,
Yeah.
right? Um,
I gotta say a disclaimer real quick. Just because we say stuff, doesn't mean that you have to agree to it by listening to us.
no, no.
I just have to say that because it's just we just had like 2 viewers and they both went 1 and then 0. It's like it's
By
like
just dipping in to see
a
what we're talking about.
conspiracy theorist. It's like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah. I always hold it like this. I can have my suspicions,
mhm.
but I know that my suspicions are not reality till I get facts.
Right.
That's the way I approach things. I
And
bookmark it.
if you live it, right? If you experienced it, it's like people disclaim experience now for whatever's out there in the news. Like, oh, well, the news didn't say this. It's like, well, dude,
Yeah.
I don't have to. I
But the
don't have,
news is also we also there's a huge chunk of our history that's not taught, which deals with CIA, the church committee, and how the news gets distorted. And we sort of think like, well, look at North Korea, which I always find is very racist when people start saying, look
Mhm.
at North Korea, we're not North Korea. It's like we got a corporate version of whatever you might think of state media, which 6 people decide for us what we get to read, see, and digest.
Mhm.
And we have to be naturally suspicious.
Mhm.
In other words, just keep your brains about you and go, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, you know. Because years later, then they'll come out and say, like, I don't know if you remember this, but for years they used to say that the Tuskegee experiment was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and that was a fact.
It was a fact that the attack on Black Wall Street was conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I always take things with, okay, I'm going to hold that thought.
All right.
It could be true, most likely is, but I'm not going to fully commit to it.
We should
It's
do a
when they
whole
say,
episode on what was conspiracy and now is what was once conspiracy now is fact.
yeah, I mean,
Well, remember we were talking about the chaos book, right? And remember I was telling you that Charles Manson was the first Epstein, right?
mhm.
And he was CIA funded, Charles Manson. That was in court. That was actually in Congress. They were discussing
Yep.
that the MK Ultra projects. That was actually a Senate hearing that took place recently.
Mhm.
So it is fact. But
Yeah,
it
it
was.
makes people very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm,
I think we crave comfort,
mm-hmm,
and that's how we get manipulated.
yeah.
It's if I could see a way to get to that comfort, you might actually give up some of your principles for it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I think it's funny too. Is like someone recently was like, "Hey, I'm so sick of your comics and your conspiracy, and I don't know why you're posting all this stuff." And it's like, dude, it's like you've known me forever. It's like I'm not changing. This is who I am.
it's comfort. It's
Maybe
comfort.
I guess I make people uncomfortable because I'm comfortable talking about stuff like this.
Yeah,
And it's all in good humor.
it's
I'm
a good humor. I have to say something because yesterday was the kind of will fit in. Bear with me.
Mhm.
Yesterday was the 90th anniversary of the Spanish Civil War,
Yes, yes,
of the beginning, which my grandfather fought in. My mom lived through as a little girl. We
yeah.
lost 75 family members. Um, and, you get to thinking many things about that time period because, I saw the end of the dictatorship as a little kid. I was tiny. I barely remember
Mm-hmm.
that. But Spain was fucking poor. It was so poor that my dad, from East St. Louis, which is one of the poorest parts of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
he said, son, I had never seen poverty like that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
People walking around in house shoes because they couldn't afford shoes because he was stationed there, right?
House shoes meaning slippers.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I remember and I can close my eyes and still see it. My
Mhm.
brother, unfortunately for him, I was 5 or 4, I was 14, 15. He used to seek me off to different towns via train.
Mm.
And I was a kid, so I'd always rat him out. I was just a kid. He's like, man, always tell, mom and dad that, we went to, Segovia. What are you doing there? So I was like, I didn't go there. I don't know what he's talking about, right? But one of the images that's seared into my brain is when I really saw real poverty.
Mm.
I remember we were on the train, and I look out the window, and by the train station, there was a huge garbage dump.
Mm.
And there were people living in it.
Mm.
This is Spain. And as I grew up, literally living with the Civil War in my life because of my mom,
Mm-hmm.
different ways, the way that she looked at the world. I say about 95% of the shit she's told me, which most people would consider conspiracy theory, today is fact.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to think, why was it that the Republic wasn't able to stave off a coup? The people weren't just prepared. It didn't have the institutions.
Mm.
The empire collapses, and then the Republic in a few years has to try to do the impossible, transform an old, decaying empire into a republic.
Mm.
And this is a warning for the United States. Those of us who think we can so ignore the fact that the comfort that we have today will stay there tomorrow and
Right.
ignore what's coming at our door.
Right.
And it keeps being more and more prescient because ICE, you see all the shit that's happening. It's a warning because by the time most of us wake up and try to fight back to keep it away,
it's too late.
The Spanish Republic, it's too late. They were so well-meaning, Ray, that they said, one, they would have rallies condemning the racial violence in the United States towards Black Americans. Two, when there was the Nazi Olympics, which were set for 36,
right,
they were planning on having the People's Olympics as a protest to the Nazis. They were saying, no, come to us. Don't go there and promote and help, promote all that Nazi shit. Come to us and we'll have a free, one of the other things, it was a republic that gave Spanish women back in 36 the right to vote. Before a lot of other countries. France, I think it was like in the 50s that women got to vote.
Right.
And on top of that, they said that war should never be waged unless it's defense, which for Spain, seeing that it was an empire, and when you sit there and you assess all the things that they were trying to do at the last minute, because really it's the last minute, it's a warning to us. It's a warning to every empire that goes into this. When you realize that empire doesn't fucking work,
right,
you have to realize how much time you have and how much time you have to fucking fix it. Putting your head into the ground and ignoring it is not going to help anyone. It's why Pericles said, you might not be into politics, and I'm paraphrasing, but eventually politics will be into you. Leave it there. This is food for thought. So those who get upset about it is because of comfort. Those comforts can be fucking taken away real fast.
Yeah. It's like when I worked in the prison in Rikers, I used to tell the students, which we referred to as inmates back then. Now you can't say that's not politically correct. it's like, but that's what they were. You call them a student or inmate, they're still locked up. You can call them whatever you want.
It's funny because it used to be prisoners.
Yeah, prisoners, right?
Right.
Right. So you can't call them prisoners. You gotta call them inmates, right?
Can't call them inmates now. What do you call them now?
Well, I would say students now, but there's actually another term for it. Like even if you're not in the school area, like I was on this on the count radio, just called in as a guest real quick, just to make a comment, and they like that's like a Rikers Island. Most people that work there run that thing, and what was the word that they used? They were using some other incarcerated individuals or something like that. I forgot what they called it. I don't know what it was.
Incarcerated prisoner.
They keep changing it, but it was just like there's some term, and I just said inmates, and she was like, it's like, we don't call them inmates. Blah, 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 blah. You can call them whatever you want. They're still locked up. That's the reality.
Yeah, it's a way of ignoring reality and being polite for no reason.
Yeah, it's like if you want to like make yourself feel comfortable and like go ahead, but that doesn't change the reality of that person. But I digress. I used to say, if you don't make good decisions, the state will make decisions for you. That's what I used to say all the time. It's like,
Mhm.
you it's like if you make bad decisions, you're gonna have repercussions, right? And if you don't choose as a young adult, because most of these guys are 18 to 21, if you don't make good decisions at this point in your life, you're already locked up. It's like you
Yeah.
just you're already at the bottom. it's
Yeah.
like it's like, but you can still go lower. You're at the bottom. The bottom has another bottom, So it's
And
try
the
to.
system, I call it the vampire pyramid scheme.
Mm-hmm.
We're all
Completely.
getting basically fed on from the very top.
Mm-hmm.
There's different layers to it.
Yep.
Some more comfortable, some less comfortable, but we're all getting fed on.
I think that why the educational system changed, like like they were defunding education, like telling people, like telling kids back in the '90s, like, oh, you have rights. When we were kids, we got our asses whipped by the teacher. I mean, I'm not saying that's right, but we were disciplined if we did something wrong, right? We were told. And in the '90s, when I started working in education, I was shocked. I was like, they were like, "Oh, teacher can't touch you, can't hit you. You have rights. You can report your teacher, and you can." And they said, "And your parent can't hit you." Like this is this is when the therapist went into the schools. Like there's a big thrust of that, but it's also the big thrust for medication coming into the schools, right? So
Big
you
pharma.
Big Pharma was coming into the schools. So Big Pharma just happened to come in at the same time that they're telling you, like, oh, you don't have to listen to your parents. Your parents can't discipline you. Your parents can't hit you. But then
Mhm.
what ends up happening? So you get a bunch of kids on drugs, and then the kids are not being disciplined. They're, by their parents because the parents are afraid. Literally, parents are terrified of their kids because they can't discipline them. The school can't discipline them. Where do they end up? In jail. And then the prison system takes them and they make money off of them that way.
Yeah, because of prison labor.
Right.
It's
So it's like, right. It's
you
like
know,
you
I,
can't discipline your kid. The school can't discipline your kid. Your kid starts acting out of control, right? Has medical issues because they're on drugs, right? Because they give them Ritalin and all this other shit. And all of a sudden, you're an institute of the state. It's like we basically reinstituted slavery unofficially in the '90s, but
technically right from 1865.
right,
It was there.
exactly, right.
Yeah, with the chain gangs, right?
Chain gangs, yeah, yeah.
We
I mean,
just we just expanded it.
we expanded it now to it. Chain gangs, prison has always been like slave catcher stuff, right? Since that's prisons, well, Emancipation Proclamation happened, and then all of a sudden you had these prisons and the state prisons to take away people's rights.
Mhm.
So that's always been there, but it's like there was like a whole new layer of let's medicate these kids, let's create these symptoms. I mean, even ADHD, the guy who came up with that term on his deathbed said that it was all bullshit. It was
Mhm.
just sell drugs to kids.
And it was gradual because my brother, he was 10 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the 60s, they were trying to get him on Ritalin because he was very hyperactive.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents like, fuck no.
No, that's just drug.
So they got him, and he was an incredible athlete. I'll put it
Mhm.
that way. An incredible mind too. A very interesting uh, combination of both.
Mhm.
They got him into ping pong, but
Mhm.
this guy, I mean, yeah, he would obsess about it, but they never gave him Ritalin. But that was the 60s.
Mhm.
So they were trying to pull that shit even back then.
Yeah.
It just got more and more as time went on.
Right.
And yeah, big pharma. It's all one big giant corporation. This
Yeah.
is one of my big beefs that I've been seeing on that because there's a big blowout between the Black American community and some leftists online,
Mhm.
all defending South America because what had happened was all the racist stuff that the Argentinian fans were doing
Mhm.
and the history for Argentina came up naturally,
Mhm.
and black people being very upset that being mistreated. All of a sudden, you had leftists who are anti-imperial saying shit about black Americans and saying how they live off the empire.
Mhm.
The reality is, what is the empire? Many of us think of it as this 19th century 2D world where
Right.
it's geography. The fucking reality is, it's like Sauron. It
Mhm.
has no body. It's
Right.
corporate. You don't know where it begins or where it ends
Right.
because a good deal of mercenaries are
Mhm.
not coming from the United States. They're
Right.
coming from Colombia, Brazil. Brazil did some shit to Haiti with
Mhm.
the UN occupation forces that they were controlling there. 30,000 people ended up dead in Haiti under Brazil's occupation. So now all of a sudden, this global north-south, when you start to dig into it, starts to fall apart
Mhm.
because there are power nodes in South America. It isn't just like we in the north are taking from the south. That is a very simplistic view of looking at it. You can look at it that way,
Mhm.
but it's far fucking messier. And again, for us, what privileges do we Black people and Latino have in the empire, the geographic empire?
Mhm.
We're heavily incarcerated. So this means we're put right back into enslavement.
Right.
There's some asshole talking about, well, you keep it USD in your bank account. Let me tell you, Zimbabwe, Cambodia, uh, El Salvador, Panama also use as their main currency USD. Does
Mhm.
that now, who are people in the global south, make them imperialists too?
Right.
So there's this cosplay leftism that's grown out of, unfortunately, and as much as I love Star Wars, you know where I'm going with this,
Okay.
good and evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to grow up, maybe read some Dune because it's fucking gray as fuck and it's despairing because it's gray as fuck.
Mhm.
Messy. Reality is messy.
Mhm.
We can find each other on common values. I think that's important, but we're all getting exploited. It's one giant exploitative system. And in terms of the goodies, because people point out we got iPhones and all this wonderful stuff, sure, but wages haven't gone up since the 70s.
Right.
And what supplemented the wages were credit cards.
Mhm.
Our country, the United States, has $1.4 trillion in credit card debt.
Mhm.
So the goodies that we're getting are on credit, which
Right.
then enslave us even further. So
Right.
from another end, I can understand where you're going, holy shit, you guys are living the life. But they don't understand that part of the empire is also to suck those at the very top and then make us desperate to join ICE
Mhm.
and to do all these other things. It's all basically exploitation and coercion on a massive level. It's hard to digest that. And I
Well,
bring that up because of what you're saying about the enslaved people. But
yeah.
we have to start acknowledging, you know, we might not have grown up in a favela in Brazil. Holy shit, that is tough.
Right.
But on the other hand, there are other things that someone in a favela in Brazil would think that's fucking nuts that they're doing that. You mean even if I get there, I'm still gonna get screwed?
Right.
Yes.
You got that
You
other
know.
guy that was killed by ICE recently as well. You know,
Yes. Yes.
he was a citizen on top of it. You know, he's like
Yeah.
what was he going? Taking this, he was going to work or something, or taking his kid to the babysitter or something like.
Yeah. His last name was Guerrero.
Yes, Joan
And
Sebastian Guerrero in
yeah,
Biden, Maine. All right.
it's and
Yeah,
the guy who did it was known to have mental issues.
and violence with his wife was saying that he threw their 13-year-old through a glass table,
Hmm.
put a gun to her head. It's
Used scalding hot water to spray them once.
yep, yep, yep,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and who are we promoting
right.
in our societies? But
The guy is it's like, where's the vetting? It's like I got a picture of the guy right here. Let's see.
I don't think we even do. I have a cousin who was a former trainer for the FBI
Right.
and
This is the murderer.
for the police, and he was saying to me, I was discussing with him. I said, part of this reason, I asked him,
Right.
do the United States Police overall have a standard training? And apparently there isn't.
Right.
So when state does something, another state does another thing, we
Right.
need standards for a reason. But yeah, go ahead with the video.
No, it's not a video. It was just a still. But go ahead, continue.
So
Just a,
yeah, it's It's frightening and terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, he even said that someone should slit his daughter's throat. Like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah, he's obviously a person who,
mental issues. Yeah, mental.
yeah, should not be in the position he's in, but
Yeah,
the president is mentally unstable that way too.
yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, like Trump is exactly. And then there is a video here actually on the wife, the ex-wife of the guy. Let's see. Yes, here's somewhere. Oh, here we go. There we go. There we go. We get this.
David back in November brought up that he had accepted a job with ICE.
His ex-wife.
I thought that it was just a delusional thing because I'm used to him talking crazy, so to speak. So I said, yeah, sure you are, buddy. You know, I didn't realize that he was actually working for ICE until yesterday. And I was completely shocked because I'm like, how do you keep getting into these jobs where you're around guns all the time? I asked him what was going on. He told me that I don't need to be answering questions for anybody, that all I needed to know was that it was a justified shooting and that he did do it. And he claimed that this man had tried to run him over. And I said, I don't see that in anything. And I've watched it from all angles. All I seen is how the car was going in circle after the fact. And then he's like, well, I need you to lie about my character because this is what it comes down to is my character. I don't want you talking about any of the abuse in our relationship. Like, this is literally about me, Ashley. I told him that I was not going to lie for him, that I've waited years to speak my truth. I've been silenced long enough. And now I need to come out with everything because a man lost his life. So it was abuse, not only to me, but to our daughter. And even being divorced from him, I've dealt with harassing phone calls, threats of him wanting to kill me. I believe that this man was murdered. I believe that David's mental health played a part in what happened. I think what happened was he was standing there during that operation, had a PTSD moment and hit fight or flight mode. And unfortunately, a man lost his life due to it.
I mean, that says it right there. Like, that's
and he had been in the military before too.
Yeah. So, I mean, these guys, and that's a thing too. It's like, you look at the police violence, things that were happening like around Black Lives Matter. Well, a lot of these cops are coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, Iraq, yeah, Iraq, yeah.
Iraq.
And then they're putting on the badge and the uniform to protect and serve, but then they're...
Yeah. I remember when that started to happen because I was living in Brooklyn. One of the things I loved about Brooklyn is, aside from the barbershop, the other place where everyone chats and talks about crap is a laundromat.
Yeah.
Right? So when I used to do my laundry, there was a guy who was he was an NYPD guy. He was Nigerian. Really cool guy. And he'd sometimes tell me some stuff, right? The stuff that he could tell me. He worked for the terror unit for NYPD. And he actually told me some of the crazy shit that would happen. And just how can I put it? There's nepotism within the NYPD, but I'm not going to go into that. And he was telling me how they're allowing, at the time, you're talking 2004, 2005, they were allowing in more military guys. And he was telling me, we police, even though we got our shit that we do, we're trained differently from the military.
Right.
Military guys can just shoot shit up. And
Right.
he said there's one guy that he had saw at the training, one of the training new recruits, who clearly shouldn't have been part of the NYPD. And that was back in 2004. You're talking 22 years ago.
Right.
And I imagine that was going to get worse. But there you go.
Yeah, and then you also have they shot that guy who was 52 years old, Lorenzo Salgado, in Houston. They shot that guy.
I'm sure there's much more than that. You know why? Because we're only getting a few.
Yeah, we're only getting a few. I think because the media was originally covering so much of it they were like people were starting to fight back in Chicago and Philadelphia fighting, and in Brooklyn fighting these ICE people that
In Minnesota,
yeah, in Minnesota, and then they was getting out of control. I think
good
after
old
the May good thing, I know they don't want them burning down the White House. They don't want another January 6th, but from both parties. It's like
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, then you got
And
yeah.
unfortunately, before you go on, I something that a lot of people didn't see about January 6th that was actually kind of spooky.
Mhm.
Aside from the right turning that, a lot of people said that there were feds
Mhm.
there pushing the situation.
Yeah, I
If
would.
you know what we do on the outside of our country with
Right.
color revolutions,
Mhm.
it had a certain smell of a dry run
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
color revolution.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
They actually remember some of those alt-right guys said that. They're like, this was just practice. Wait till next time. So
Yeah.
now imagine if Trump didn't win that last election. What would have happened? They would have went back to
Yeah.
and do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Which
I
could
mean,
still happen, even after he's going to get out.
there's a lot of I know it's going to piss off a lot of people who are pro Ukraine. To me, it's neither there here or there, but I think it was 2014.
Mhm.
We helped the color revolution
Mhm.
pop off there,
Right.
and there's a reason why Victoria Newland, was going out with the protesters, handing out cookies. And I remember sitting there watching it. I was in Spain. I had a friend of mine who had been in the Spanish military, and he was pointing out, says, "You see those guys who are going over there in all those uniforms? Those are brand new uniforms. Those are mercs."
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, as much as Ukraine this, Ukraine that, we've been kind of meddling with their shit for a while too. And I get it, people, about the Russia thing, but on the other hand, Russia's not alone
Right.
in that shit.
I
We're
mean,
the other hand.
what people don't realize, and people who don't follow politics, is that if you look at any military operation in this country, the United States always had a hand in that. I mean, look at like how Afghanistan, like how Russia colonized Afghanistan, and they had
Well,
a modern society, and then
they
we.
didn't quite colonize it. What happened was this: you had a left-wing government that emerged in Afghanistan.
Mhm.
Then it wasn't very strong because it's hard to have a central government in Afghanistan.
Mhm.
So the Soviets, thinking, "Oh shit, we've got kind of like the domino. Oh, we got a friendly government over here that's falling.
Right.
Let's go in and give them a hand and
Mhm.
prop them back up."
Right.
Right? That fell apart. That
Yeah.
was a mess.
But
But
the
then,
U.S. was behind them falling apart. The U.S. started funding the extremists.
exactly, because their whole motivation was, let's give them a Vietnam
Right.
like they gave us one, right?
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
no, but
People don't even know that either. That they
no,
had 2,000 Russian troops in Vietnam. We were fighting the Russians. Hey, it wasn't
but,
it's a Cold War or a proxy war. We were literally fighting Russians.
oh yeah, they're only acknowledged the Russian fighter pilots now,
Yeah, exactly. In the 2000s.
and the Chinese too. They were there fighting against us, you
Right. It's,
know,
it's like,
like we've been always this close to a serious hot war
mhm.
for a long time, and I mean nuclear hot.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but it's a very dangerous game.
yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
even Cuba, you think about like I forgot, it was a blonde woman that was in all these revolutions. She was this blonde Russian chick. She was with Che Guevara. She was with Ho Chi Minh. She was like, she was like this Russian chick, like that was an operative, like a high Russian operative. I forget her name, but yeah.
well, and the world got, and I know this sounds crazy because we sort of think of the Soviet Union as evil, and
Mhm.
to me that's neither here nor there.
Right,
They
right.
were viewing the world from being anti-imperialist.
It's white on white crime. That's what it is.
Well, they were viewing it like, okay, because they supported and sent a lot of weapons to help South Africa against apartheid.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
And Israel was sponsoring that apartheid.
Yeah. So
The U.S.
on the one hand, we've been so propagandized to view the Soviet Union as evil,
Right.
but when you start to dig into it, it's fucking more complicated than that.
Right.
And in some senses, we kind of come out looking like the villain, in many instances. And that's uncomfortable because we need to see them as the evil empire. And a lot of instances, they weren't. They were literally just a poor country. They really didn't have all that much. It worked great for the military-industrial complex to have an enemy that you could always just, oh, it's the Soviets. It's this, it's that. And now I don't think we really have a serious enemy like that.
Yeah.
And we're going fucking bananas. Because China's like, I'm just selling you shit, dude. Like, what are you up to? Like, could you imagine walking into a corner store and
Yeah.
you start arguing with the guy,
Right.
I'm Batman and you're the Joker. And dude behind the counter is like, dude, I just sell you the comic books. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's how we're acting right now around the world.
Yeah.
I reduce it down to that, but nobody wants to have a serious fight with us.
Yeah. It's like the name of the female was Tamara Bunke. She was known also as Tanya. That was her code name. Born in Argentina to a Russian Jewish mother and a German communist father, she operated as a spy for the Cuban government, East German Stasi, and Soviet KGB. She assisted Fidel Castro and Che Guevara following the Cuban Revolution and later joined Che Guevara's doomed guerrilla movement in Bolivia. That's where he got his hands chopped off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Che had his racist issues.
Yeah.
Can't deny that. But I'll always appreciate his gusto.
She was not a blonde.
There's another woman who, she's called the Avenger of Che. And she was born, I think it was in Chile. Her grandfather or father was a Nazi. And she gotten disheartened with the whole shit and joined Che. And when he was killed, she was so pissed off that it said that she found the guys who killed him and killed them.
Yeah.
Which is wild. But those sort of principles, like when you're talking anti-empire, those are the kind of stories that we should be really writing about.
Right, exactly. Yeah. This is her right here. It's like,
oh wow. Yeah, she looks like she could be Spanish or Portuguese.
Yeah, well, that's it. Easily.
I would not think of her as being Russian. I mean, there are aspects, her features around her.
She's Argentinian. She's actually Argentinian, but mixed. Yeah,
yeah. So I wouldn't even. Yeah, I could see why she was a very effective spy.
Yeah. It's Russian. Yeah, Argentinian, born in Argentina. She is Russian, but she was born in Argentina to Russia.
Yeah. So
and German.
It's funny because my mother,
German,
really posted pictures of my mother.
Yeah.
But people used to ask me if my mother was Russian.
When
you see her really round features and stuff, and we do have Hungarian.
Right.
Because there's a time. I mean, the thing that kills me is that everyone's like, "Oh, this we've been immigrating everywhere." Like this idea of I just sprouted from the ground I was born on. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Right.
In Colombia, we're mixed with the Jamaican and Scottish,
indigenous.
I think it was Dutch. Indigenous is mixed. I say slavery, basically.
Yeah.
Colombia.
We talked about last week.
Yeah.
I think in the United States we talk more about race than other places do. I think other places, especially for the Spanish-speaking world, we're like, well, we're all mixed, and we sort of just tuck it under the carpet. But we don't really discuss enough casta and how it lingers in our minds, like the words that are used. Like, I hate this term, and I hear it and I see it every so often. Negro de mierda, which is when you say one thing is calling someone a mierda, a shit.
Yeah.
When you're actually putting the specific black, you're a black shit. That's closer to the N word in English.
Yeah. Oh, my uncle who was Dominican used to call me flaco mierda.
Yeah, flaco. Well, yeah, that's it's one thing. But once you start to bring skin color in it,
Yeah.
or sometimes they'll say Indio,
Right.
you know, and it's just like
Right.
we've internalized in the Spanish speaking world, there's a certain amount of internalized racism that we don't even see it as racism anymore. And it has to be questioned because it's still, we're still, of course, I'm talking from the side of the colonizer, right? In this sense, which is
Yeah.
bizarre given my phenotype and everything.
Yeah.
But there's been a certain imprint from the colonizer
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be completely extinguished. And I
Mm-hmm.
say that for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really really sad. The Argentina thing is one of them because 40 to 80% of Argentinians actually have indigenous. The problem is only 2%, 2 to 8% view themselves as being indigenous or having indigenous ancestry.
Because it's colonial brainwashing.
Yeah. And that's the part where people kind of get confused and it's like, well, they're all Nazis. No, only 5,000 Nazis went to Argentina. But if you could set the tone that European is civilized,
Mm-hmm.
indigenous and African isn't, no matter how mixed you are, there's a certain level of self-hatred that you have that you don't want to talk about. And I
Yeah.
think it's very important for the Spanish-speaking world for all of us to be honest and heal, because the defensiveness that we all have comes from, well, it's the English imposing this racist stuff on me. Could be, yeah, but it's also we got some shit to work out.
Right.
You know,
A lot of self-hate, you know.
a lot of self-hate, and you probably would understand it better because you're better than I would in terms of the Latino community because you grew up in it.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up from the imperial colonizer side and the Spanish side,
Mm-hmm.
sort of getting touches of it, going, "What the fuck is this shit?" Right?
Mhm.
Like, you know.
I think as a mixed kid, we all, because we're mixed culture and we're not just one thing. I think
Right.
I think we impose things on ourselves or what we consider normal and not normal. I mean, I never thought about that much when I was younger, but I do remember whenever I drew self portraits of myself, I always drew myself with straight hair, not as a kid,
Interesting.
because it was like the brainwashing, you know.
Right.
Even though I grew up in a black community and I went to a black church and everything, a lot of black people considered me white, even though I was clearly Hispanic and mixed.
Right.
But it's like, but when you go to the white community, they're like, "Oh, you're not white. What are you?" I mean, wait a second. You're not part of this group. Can you stand over there, please? It's like,
And you know, I have to say that the Black American community has always been great to me, and the Latino community has always been great to me.
Mhm.
And sort of viewing your community
Mhm.
from my eyes, because as I've told you before, I am your mixture, just born abroad.
Yeah.
But then seeing the struggles, you know, I didn't have, thankfully, too many struggles with identity because Spanish was never really considered
Mhm.
English. So I was like, fuck you, right? So I was never going to be part of the in group. But it was interesting sort of seeing how the Latino community tries to deal with its own identity and the
Mhm.
crises within are
Mhm.
things that me, myself, in a separate, different way,
Mhm.
had thoughts that go through my head.
Right.
And I'm like it's like viewing sort of your thoughts in third person perspective
Yeah.
through the Latino community. And some sides feeling sad and then disgusted with the Spanish side,
Mm-hmm.
because I also know that it was the Spanish side that put that imprint.
Right.
And it makes me very angry
Yeah.
because it's so unfair.
Yeah. Just like my Colombian side never got along with the Puerto Rican side. And even though we're all adults now, like we're, all mature in our 50s, 60s, whatever, you still see it. Like, when they have family events, the Colombian sides have their thing. They don't invite the Puerto Rican side. It's still, even with the kids, it's like we were kids, we're like, we're not going to be like our parents, but clearly we did because there's a division, it's like,
Yeah.
like my Colombian family was, stuck up because they're like, well, we're the house Negroes, basically. That's the mentality that they had. Well, we grew up on the plantation, but we were in the house, it's like we were not in the field. It's like they literally have that mentality. Like, it's like, like I've heard my own mother say, well, we don't My own mother would say, "Oh, we don't have black roots." Like, what do you mean? Your mom's black. Her father was African. Your father is Scottish, yeah, but his parent was Jamaican. And they were like, "Oh, oh!" It's like he's shaking it up. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I have cousins on the Colombian side, like, "Oh, we're Dutch and German, and Scottish," and I was like, "Wait a minute, you just like overrode." They don't mind saying, "Yeah, we're native," native mixed Colombians, like the Indian,
Mestizo.
right? The Missy. They don't mind saying that,
Yeah.
but the black side is like, "Wait a minute, hold on, let me go back."
Yeah.
Then they're like, "Oh, where did you get your information from, Ray? You didn't even grow up in Colombia. You didn't." It's like, our grandfather.
Do you see the picture of him?
Fucking talk to him.
Uh,
Conversation. I wasn't very close to my grandfather. I met him physically in person 3 times in my entire life. But we spoke on the phone. And when he visited me, we had very deep conversations. He was a historian,
right.
He had all the logs of all, which America has, this is what's interesting. Colombia's a very small island, right? But the manifest of every slave that was brought from Jamaica or from Africa, Rwanda or wherever, their names are on a list. My grandfather for a long time had that until I think somebody stole it from the house, but he had the manifest, the names. Like everyone called him the historian on the island because they could actually go to him and say, based on their last name, find out who they were. They know the names of their ancestors who arrived, in that middle passage, right?
Wow.
Well, in the United States, those records are meticulous, right? So it's like technically every black family in America today should be able to say, these are my ancestors. This is the name of the person who was brought here, kidnapped or otherwise. But those records do exist. They do exist, but they're hidden,
And there's another problem when you do the genealogy, because as you well know, I'm finishing up this history book. Once you get into the plantation system, the way that people are listed is very vague. So if you can find like one person you're related to, it's then really hard then to know who else is related to. Like they'll say, we have 3 Negroes, 1, 2, 3, John, blah, 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 blah.
Well, they changed their names.
Yeah, so the big leap is going from those vague names to manifests.
Right. From the ship manifest when they're brought over, they should have those documents.
They should have those.
Those are meticulous,
Yeah, those are meticulous, but then making the leap from that to the actual
where they
plantations and the mixtures and everything else after.
Yeah. Well, your last name, you took the last name of the slave owner, right? So
yeah, but some people were actually lent out.
That's true.
That's the other thing. So it gets really messy.
Yeah.
And that's the tough thing. Like we could only go so far. We ended up doing the genealogy for the white side, but then we got to the black side from one person who was in a similar situation as Sally Hemings.
Right.
But beyond that name, we really don't know where her cousins were, where her mother was.
Right.
And and they purposely did that. I mean, like, on the one hand, what do you care? I'm just giving a listing to fucking taxes to say, this is my property, right?
Right.
They never thought that at one point we're going to sit down and actually try to trace back. But yes, on the manifests, for sure, they got it. But it's the link between the manifests and the plantations that's really hard.
Yeah. That's again, people disappeared too. People died. People were buried,
Killed.
Killed. Yeah.
Killed. One of the things that killed me years ago, sometimes the animosity sometimes between, I wouldn't say all Latinos, but I would say certain people and African Americans. I remember once some guy said to me, well, African Americans are not as mixed as us Latinos. And I looked at him and I said, you really fucking fell for that lie?
Right. It's not real. It's like, come on.
We're just as mixed as, we're pretty much the mirror version of you guys, but in English.
Right.
I said, whereas the Spanish would actually say, no, this is my fucking kid. You touch him. I don't care if how brown he is. I'm going to break your face. Right. It's my kid. The English were the opposite. That's not my kid, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like in Colombia, they had to legal because even though it was under Spain, right? So the
Mhm.
Spanish were, even though you had like I would say, I guess the Irish and the Scottish running slavery, it was really under the decree of Spain.
Yeah,
So anyone that had children, which when slavery was being abolished, anyone that had children with a slave had to, they didn't have to marry them, but they had to adopt them. So
that's
that's,
very Catholic, right?
yeah. So they had to adopt their wives and their children and give them their
Yeah.
name and all that
And
stuff.
the French ran it the same way, more or less, and they were
Yeah.
no less
But in
brutal or
America, they're like,
worse.
"Nah, I'm not doing that." It's like,
Well, they had a in New Orleans, it was Louisiana, it was plessage, it was concubinage.
right, right,
But the women were able to get property.
right.
The fathers acknowledged their children, unlike that asshole Jefferson.
Right, right.
It was like, not my kids, right? And there's some amazing people who came from such unions, such as the Dumas family.
Hmm.
I mean, we would not have the Three Musketeers without that Haitian side,
Right,
you
right.
know, and his father, who was a general. I mean,
Hmm.
people, you know, it's complicated, but it didn't mean that, like Alexander Dumas, the writer, he got a lot of racism. Like,
Hmm.
people don't know. Like, I mean, he was fair skinned with green eyes, but they
Hmm.
drew cartoons of him with these big, massive lips, deep frying musketeers.
Hmm.
So he got a lot of heat. You would think, oh, Three Musketeers guy, he must have lived at Grand and
Right.
been loved by France. And no, because he was unapologetically black. He didn't care.
Hmm.
But there's a whole thing. But so I think on that side, because Spanish and French did acknowledge their children who were mixed,
Hmm.
it seems softer, and it kind of hides the English side, which was like they never mixed. It was black and white. The fuck? They were just hypocritical,
Right.
right?
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
So then the racism seems like it's softer in the Spanish and French,
Right.
and then harsher in the English.
Right.
You
Nah,
know,
and I think the Puerto Rican side of my family were more Americanized. Like they were more
mm,
that whole American dream thing where they just came here and
I see. So do you think it was sort of like the Colombians were very proud of the Colombia? I
you
don't
know,
care about this American shit. Puerto
right.
Ricans much more Americanized.
I would say they're more Americanized. They were deep in their Puerto Rican culture, but they were like, forget about the. They you have to remember they were all farmers, right? So they were
Yeah,
like both
yeah,
my families were farmers, uh,
yeah.
which
Puerto Rico went through a tough time and still
right.
goes through a tough time. Yeah.
I'll tell you the difference. My mother, she was born on a farm. She would grow flowers, whatever here, like. But my father would grow fruits and vegetables. That's the difference of the mindset of class, right?
Wow.
So she's like, "Oh yes, yeah, my family was farmers, and she'll grow a garden." My father'd be growing like
The
mangoes,
actual
the
farm.
actual farm, the actual food,
That's a very interesting way of putting it, because flowers is something that you do because you come from more well off.
Right? Yes, it's kind of
Yeah.
like status
Yeah,
or
it's,
something.
it's status, right? Farming is because I need to fucking eat.
Right? Right.
Right? So that's fascinating.
Yeah, like my father always grew food, and my mother always grew flowers. It's like that's what that's
Interesting.
you know.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
never thought about that. Like, yeah, of course, if it's flowers, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Everyone
interesting.
loves flowers. No one likes mangoes and papayas with bugs flying around, or bananas. It's like,
Well, they like when they get to eat it for dessert.
yeah,
They
right,
don't like actually doing the work to get all that
right,
shit.
right, right.
You
It's
know,
like,
I think that's the other thing that I think that many of us in the modern world really don't have respect for people who feed us.
right, they don't.
They don't. Like, that is not an easy job,
It's not. It's hard.
you know. And
Mhm.
as much as we say the younger generation, there's probably some 80-year-old going, fucking you guys 50-year-olds talking about a younger generation. When I was young, we picked fruit and we went out there and we went and worked the land. You
Right,
know?
right, right.
Right? So it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
When I was younger, I did both. I grew flowers and I also planted like herbs and stuff like that. I used to grow tomatoes when I moved into a building.
That's great.
So, but now I got lazy. I don't do either. I got tons of, I got property where I can grow shit. I don't.
I think the most revolutionary act at this point,
Is to,
one of the most revolutionary acts, is to start growing your own food.
yeah, I think so.
It's going to be kind of hard
Yeah.
going forward.
And because they charge so much, I mean, tomatoes that grow like that, it's like, and then we pay so much at the supermarket, it's just,
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I lived in Brooklyn, you'd look at apples or fruit,
mhm.
it was freaking expensive.
Yeah,
And then you look over at a pork chop or something, and it's super cheap.
right,
So it's like it literally guides you right to not eating well,
right.
you know? So when you
Yeah,
have these celebrities coming out saying shit like, people need to eat better. Yeah, no kidding. You're a millionaire.
right,
You
exactly.
know, I remember once I was reading about it was an immigrant family. I don't know if they're from El Salvador or Mexico, wherever they're from.
Mhm,
And all they could afford for their family,
mhm,
and they were working in the US, was like these shitty hamburgers at McDonald's.
mhm,
So when you have these celebrities and sometimes politicians,
mhm,
not gonna beat up on Michelle Obama too much.
mhm.
Part of the thing is there too. Oh, you need to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables and all this other shit.
Right.
It's like, have you seen the economy for most people?
I know, right?
You know, so it's fascinating, but it's
Also,
interesting.
I think
Yeah, go
about
ahead.
as we get older, like I'm avoiding like becoming diabetic, but it's just like, but I look at the options when you go like into like a deli or like a gas station. What are the food options? You got chips. You have cold cut sandwiches. Cold cuts aren't that great because of the process of how they destroy anything good on it for longevity purposes.
That's right.
You know, there's nothing healthy when you walk into a bodega. Like even the cakes, the breads, everything's gonna sit on that shelf for like a year. It's like everything's high fructose syrup, corn syrup, food coloring. All that stuff is like, well, how can you eat healthy when you live in a community where nobody has organic food? And then when they do introduce organic food, it's like literally 3 times more the price than, like if I go to the Hispanic area where like a lot of Africans and Haitians shop, if to get organic eggs, it's like $8 or $9, like eight and change. Meanwhile, in the town I live in with a bunch of like whiteheads, it's like $2-3 for the same brand.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed that in
You know.
Brooklyn
Hmm.
when once like I lived in what technically was Crown Heights. They just renamed it, whatever. It
Hmm.
was off the Eastern Parkway.
Hmm.
So I remember going to actually because it was still relatively not doing that great. The
Hmm.
grocery stores in my neighborhood were fucking expensive.
Hmm.
But then the same type of shopping, uh, grocery store, I went over to Flatbush, over to the hoity-toity part of
Hmm.
Brooklyn, and shit was less expensive in the
Right.
rich part.
Right.
And I'm like, don't you think it should be kind of flipped?
Right.
But it's not.
Right.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, even when I lived in the Bronx, there was a Fairway supermarket that opened up on Boston Road. And at first it was affordable, but I'm a creature of habit. I buy the same shit. Within 2 years, the price really jumped. And I remember the cashier asked me something, and I was just like, "Do you shop here?" She's like, "I can't afford to shop here." And that just blew me away. I'm like, how is it that you live in a community, you work in the community, but you can't afford to eat from the food at the market that you work at? because the prices skyrocketed. And then they eventually they raised their prices so high that they ended up shutting down because they couldn't even afford to stay in the neighborhood and business. It's like how do you open up a supermarket that that it was a decent supermarket with organic. I guess they were like a competitor with Whole Foods or whatever. But it's like, but if you keep raising your prices, how do you expect to survive?
Yeah.
As a food market? And they didn't. They collapsed. They're gone. It's like, but I feel that's a great sin. If you can't, if you provide a service, if you're a service provider, but you can't provide the service for your own employees, then you shouldn't be in business.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
Yeah.
who are you providing for? Who is
Yeah.
this community? So you want people from the outside to shop inside. Just like, like you go to the Mexican and Peruvian neighborhood over here, where not too far from where I live, about 20 minutes away. You got like these what we call Ferrari dealerships in these poor neighborhoods. It's like you can't even get the streets fixed. There's potholes everywhere, but you got a Ferrari dealership, you got a Tesla dealership, you got all these expensive. No one's buying these cars that live here. It's like, you know what I mean? The reason why they're buying their business there because the real estate is cheap.
Makes you also wonder, me being a little bit of I wouldn't say conspiracy theorist, but because I think that was a CIA thing they invented, but suspicious, very dirty,
Right.
not dirty-minded in the Prince sort of,
Right.
sexual type way. Makes you wonder, aside from the cheap rent, if it's someone who is getting a tax write-off
Yeah.
by opening up a Ferrari dealership, because in this way it balances out some other. They have a loss,
Right.
and they get to balance out something other business that they have, because a
Right.
lot of shit works that way, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just
'Cause
like
why
weird.
would you have a Ferrari dealership in a place that
Nobody can afford it.
can't afford it? That's
Doesn't make
aside from the cheap rent,
you know.
but
Yeah.
they do things like this. I mean, they
Right.
do horrible things.
Right.
A lot of people in Europe would have a hard time understanding that. I mean,
Yeah.
here usually the grocery stores are pretty even through and through.
Right.
There's some places that are more expensive than others. That happens. Poor neighborhoods, no food. Actually, the African neighborhood, Chateau Rouge in Paris, the food's cheaper.
Right.
You can go there, market. They got all sorts of, and you get fruits from Africa that you don't see in the rest of France.
Yeah.
But overall, like the farmers markets here are way cheaper than the grocery stores because you're literally buying from the farmers, which is weird because in North America, the farmers markets is more expensive.
Yeah. Over here, the farmers markets are more expensive than the supermarkets. It's like, wait a minute.
How does that work, right?
Right. It doesn't make any sense.
Because here you can get a bunch
So
of apples.
it's almost like a sense of classism, like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you going to shop at the farmers market?
Right.
You got the money?
And the thing is, the farmers probably in the States have to charge more because they're so much smaller. They don't sell enough.
Right.
So that's probably why they have to charge more, because we also forget the distribution. The distributors probably gouge small farmers and take all sorts of fees.
But at the same time, we also pay farmers to burn their excess crops because we produce so much.
Like corn.
So
Yeah.
are they really having to charge us more if they're already being paid? And then you have a lot of community groups, like in the Bronx, you have a lot of farmers markets in the Bronx. So it's like, so if you're getting subsidies already from the government to sell these foods in poor communities, it's like, well, you did get a grant.
Well, I also found out since the 80s, a lot of the farmers are actually millionaires and multimillionaires.
Oh yeah, a lot of them are. Yeah.
Because what's his name? Scott Bassett,
Mm-hmm.
the guy that looks like he escaped from Spin City. He looks like the mayor from Spin City. He owns a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
There's the how we view farmers, I think, is another thing too. I think
Right.
it hasn't really kind of caught up with the reality of what they are.
Right. Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
it's
Very true.
fascinating.
You
Yeah.
know, I have this video. Is it a video? Yeah, it's a video. A very short video about the Trump election. Apparently, on the news, there was the guy who died at Trump's fake ear assassination. He really died, this guy. And his wife is now coming out and saying, "Hey, I think this was an inside job." Like, nah, no shit. But
And it cost her husband's life.
cost her husband's life. So
That's sad.
yeah. So let's take a look at that real quick. Let's see. And here we go.
The widow of Corey Comparatore, the firefighter that lost his life in Butler, Pennsylvania at the Trump rally where President Trump was almost assassinated, said that she doesn't believe that Thomas Crooks was acting alone. In fact, she thinks it was an inside job.
Expressed belief that the gunman, Thomas Crooks, didn't act alone.
I don't believe there was another shooter there, but I believe that he was working with somebody. I believe it was an inside job inside the government somewhere.
And this was political?
Oh, yeah.
Political.
Absolutely. Yep.
She goes on and urges President Trump to not forget about her and the family and to continue to ask questions and investigate this case because they want answers. And just like with the Charlie Kirk assassination, when you go back and you look at the footage, there is a lot of weird stuff going on that you wouldn't have seen the first time, like camera people being ushered in, as well as a flag being lowered right behind President Trump's head before he does his famous fist pump that got that picture. Either way, it's interesting that it's been over 2 years since this almost assassination attempt when Corey Comparatore lost his life. And his wife is still asking questions and wants answers. It hasn't even been a year since Charlie Kirk's assassination, and Erica just believes the government narrative. And I just have to wonder why. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Yeah, I think especially with Charlie Kirk, I don't know if you've been following the case, but there's a lot of crazy stuff that's been going on that proves that this guy Tyler Robinson
Didn't do it.
wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't even the guy on the video that jumped off the
right.
It was obvious.
It was obvious. And the guy shadowed. That was AI. Like the guy shadowed.
Yeah, it didn't look right.
Cars.
Like the way he jumped
Mhm.
didn't look right. The rifle that he had, like they're trying to tell us that
With his leg.
I don't care how well trained you are,
Right.
you're not going to dismantle that in 3 seconds.
No.
Especially because the barrel is going to be hot on top of that, right?
Exactly.
So it's like they just pump us full of bullshit. We just fucking eat it up.
And apparently there was the text from his so-called lover, with the Charlie Kirk shooting. Apparently that came from some company. Those texts were generated from a company, not an actual phone. And they happen to be in the is not real area.
Well, yeah, because I remember when they released it, and they were saying it was Kash Patel that released it, and everybody was laughing like, "What? There's no emojis?"
Right.
Like, was this person like a Gen Xer who wrote this? Like, what the fuck?
Right.
And Gen Xers use emojis, right?
Right.
And just the way that he was talking, it sounded like a 50 or 60-year-old, not like a 20-year-old.
And it didn't make any sense.
Horseshit,
Yeah. And the bill that they tried to pass to merge America's military
and
with
Israel
failed. They're not giving it up, but every Republican voted for that. Like, what the hell?
It's because they're doing it.
On this vote, the yeas.
They're doing it. They're trying to legalize it. They always do that shit. It's just like the Patriot Act and all the whole surveillance. We think it brought surveillance. They were doing all that surveillance on us during the war on drugs.
Right.
But then when 9/11 happened, it was like, holy shit, now we get to actually sort of like scrub this clean. We kind of have to start thinking of them as malcontented children. If they're trying to pass something like that, it's because they're fucking doing it and they're unified. They're
Yeah.
just trying to normalize it so we don't go, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, I think also part of it's that, unilaterally, the only thing that Republicans and Democrats think about in concert with is funding Israel. So they always give them the money. But by merging it, they don't have to put it to a vote. It just becomes automatic,
Right.
or it's nestled together so that when it does pass, it's not, you can't look at it and say, well, this part goes to Israel, this goes to US. It's kind of like, but I'm kind of feeling like Ireland and the British. I think that's what's happening to the United States. It's like Israel is the British as to what Ireland was, to the British back then, where, Ireland was basically taking all their resources and food and giving it to England, and, and we become more of the slave class. I think that's
what's interesting is that our relationship as a colony was like that. You had to import fucking everything, even nails. You couldn't make your own nails. You couldn't grow your own food. In the 13 colonies, like, people don't understand. It wasn't like we were doing our own fucking thing and we were just part of the British Empire. So there's I think there's some of that, but I think Israel, man, I'm gonna get hated on for this. Whatever. Israel is just an extension of a colonial project for the West.
Yeah, which is funny that some of my buddies tell me I disagree. I don't think it's a colonial project. You don't have to agree or believe or anything. That's what it is. It's in writing. Even before the Bellflower Declaration, it was seen as a Jewish colonial project. In writing. It's in writing.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe anything. That's what it is.
I've always viewed it as the safe home or the safe house for the United States. If everything goes bad in the Middle East, they can always retreat into Israel and then get back into the Middle East, whittle their way back into it.
Right.
A lot of us have to play more Risk and some chess to start realizing, things are not what just the news tell us.
Yeah.
Like I was mentioning earlier with Patagonia and the Falkland Islands.
Right.
Falkland Islands comes up and everyone like fucking seals are arguing over this when Patagonia is being sold off. So yes, you can look at Israel as a homeland for Israelis, Jews. But at the same time, why would the United States and England and the West put so much money into something for people they always hated? There's more to it. Everything runs on incentive.
Right.
So there's an incentive. It's horrible to think that shit because I think most of us don't like to think that that's that way. We like to think of altruism, and I think that's why we like superheroes. Superheroes is a person who's powerful, but they go out and they still help people, those who are weaker than them. And I think it's a wonderful thing. But unfortunately, the people that run our world do not think that way.
Right.
I don't even think they think the way supervillains do. I think they think worse.
Yeah. Surprisingly, a lot of Democrats voted against this merger, because initially a lot of them were for it. So now I find it interesting there, especially with all the videos coming out about like sniping children, and even one baby was suckling on its mother's teeth and got sniped in the head. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is like what is that?
Yeah, because the congressman, the congressman or senator, he went to Israel.
I got the video.
You got the video. Thank you.
Let me just play this one real quick first.
All right.
And then share this. Here we go. So it was 46-50. That was tight.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 46. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn, not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to. The majority leader.
Mr. President, I enter a motion to reconsider.
The motion is entered.
Sorry. And I move to proceed to calendar number 436, S4784.
Reconsider? No. I'm sorry, but
you got to have a drink.
This is tea, but just saying, like,
I don't have one. It's like, okay, sure.
if shit keeps going the way it is, we just, it's just we're gonna have to convert.
Well,
All right, so the
um,
senator, what was his name again? I have that video. What's the name?
Khan.
Yes,
He was
Khan.
actually with Massey. He was the one pushing for the releasing of the Epstein files. And granted, he did said some contradictory things recently, but I think he finally understood by going to Israel when his car was stopped by settlers.
Yeah.
He was held up for I think like an hour and a half or something by them at gunpoint.
They even stabbed up their tires. Like,
Yeah. And then the police just
what
stood
are they
around.
doing? Like, these are Americans. They know what a lot of these settlers are from America. What the fuck are they doing? They know what's right and wrong. But they're going over there acting like the KKK attacking these people,
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. I mean, shit's not always going to be the same.
Yeah.
We're not always going to be the top dog. The
Yeah.
top dog might not be very happy with the little dog
Right.
at one point, and a lot of this anti-Semitism that they're talking about might actually, and I hope it doesn't, but translate in something violent, and that's not good either.
No.
I don't think
there's no winners in that.
there's no winners in this. Yeah, there's no winners in that. It's just stupid.
All right, here's the video you're talking about.
Yeah.
The arrogance in the eyes of those settlers, 21 and 22-year-olds with guns, laughing that they had detained us. The arrogance of those young IDF soldiers that my tax dollars are funding, having no respect for the fact that they were detaining Americans, no respect that there was an American congressperson in that bus, and laughing when our translator told them that there are Americans there and the American embassy is concerned. It is the arrogance of power, of a power that has had no accountability, total impunity, and has created a toxic culture of oppression. I'm certainly probably the first American politician who's been detained by the IDF and Israeli settlers. I mean, we were at a village that Israeli settlers had destroyed. They had destroyed the school. They had destroyed that village, and we were just looking at it. And these hoodlums come in with machine guns, an M4, an American-made machine gun, and they detain us. They block off the road. And then they call the IDF, and the IDF is on their side, not on the side of the Americans. I've been to Israel before. We've met with Israeli officials. We've gone to Ramallah, met with the President Abbas, but I've never really gotten to meet Palestinians and seen the occupation from the eyes of Palestinians. And it was important to me to have an uncurated, extensive look at the human toll of occupation. What people in America are asking is, are you so bought and sold by the establishment and political donors that you cannot see human injustice? So if you're unwilling to speak up for Palestinian human rights, if you're unwilling to speak up against the genocide in Gaza, the apartheid in the West Bank, then you are morally compromised. And we cannot trust you to fight for Medicare for all, or to fight for workers over the billionaires, or to fight for justice and human rights in the United States.
I think he's the next president.
I hope so. I hope so.
But yeah,
I hope so.
I think that more politicians need to see that firsthand. And it's on Instagram. It's not like they have to travel there, But what's interesting, as a senator, you have your own security detail. They could have literally just taken those people out.
Yeah, but I guess it was probably a good idea that they didn't, because having a skirmish,
Yeah.
And if I can think of from Bibi's perspective, he would have spun that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they could have taken him out, but then they would have said, "Oh, Representative Khan, his guys took out some settlers in Israel, anti-Semitism," because everything gets spun that way.
Right.
We're not dealing with reason. We're dealing with, Yeah, I guess you could kind of tie it to the way that a lot of the Argentinian football, racist football fans,
Mm-hmm.
getting very mad because you're being called out for being an asshole
Mm-hmm.
and using that as a shield to hide your shit. And they would have done that to
Mm-hmm.
Representative Khan. I think he did the best thing he could have.
I think he did the wisest thing, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
he did.
just putting that out there that you're a senator, you're in a foreign country, you have a security detail that is there to put their lives down in you know, to protect yours, and he didn't do that. You know,
Yeah. They showed great restraint.
great restraint,
Great restraint.
and
Something
also,
Israel could learn a little bit from.
right, and the settlers have American weapons, so
Yeah. Well, it's even like Al Qaeda or any of these other groups, right?
right.
Who, I mean, when we fought the Nazis back in World War II,
Mm-hmm.
they were making their own weapons. Granted, we were helping them, but
Right.
But they actually had factories that made their own shit.
Yeah.
These other countries, with the exception of maybe Iran,
Mm-hmm.
they're not making their own shit. We're selling that shit.
Right.
We sell to Israel, Syria, all these places. So
Right.
if we just said we're closing the tap on weapons,
Yeah.
everything would calm down real fast.
Yeah. Really. Exactly. Stop exporting. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes a big difference. I mean, just like the thing that happened, was it last month in Newark? They were blocking weapons being shipped to Israel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were doing that in Italy too.
You know, it's just like,
been doing that shit. The Brits have been doing that.
Yeah. So it just shows you the lip service. What's being said in the UN is one thing, but the reality of them still providing weapons to bomb unarmed people, because there is no more Hamas. It's like for the government, you know, it's just there's no soldiers.
Well, even October 7th is being seen very differently.
Yeah.
Because when they were showing those burnt out cars,
yeah, that was all missiles and drones taking that out.
I mean, drones can cause damage.
Yeah.
The blast radius is some of the shit.
No, there were Hellfire missiles. Those are American missiles attacking. They attacked their own people. The soldiers were ordered to kill their own people,
which is the Hannibal Directive.
Yeah,
and
which is really sleazy. Like, you know, you rarely hear of an American war. Like, you don't hear American troops killing their own troops in Vietnam or in Saudi Arabia or in Afghanistan or Kuwait or any of the conflicts, killing our own troops because we don't want to negotiate with them with hostage situations. You don't hear that.
The Gulf of Tonkin.
You know? Well, the Gulf of Tonkin, yeah. But that didn't happen. That was actually...
It didn't, but it was here. It was here.
That didn't happen.
It crossed their fucking mind.
Yeah, I know, but you don't hear that though. You know, like you don't hear those stories. I'm not saying they don't happen, but it's just not something that's common. There's no directive.
But the Israelis have actually been fucking doing it. Yeah.
Right. There's no directive that we know as Americans about killing your own soldiers. No. So I mean, we had Vietnam soldiers coming home like from 1975 to 1980 from Vietnam that were being held captive. There was no order to kill them.
No, that would have been too much for the American public.
You know, so why do they have this little landmass in the state of New Jersey? And a lot of them are Americans, right?
I think a lot of it.
But they have this directive to kill their own
because they get to spin it.
You know,
they get to say it was Hamas.
Even the three guys that were escaped. Remember the three guys that escaped and they had the white flag and they were like being shot at by their own soldiers. Yeah. They were directed to kill them. Even though they were free, they freed themselves. They still got murdered by their own troops. The order was to kill all the hostages. It's like,
and I would say it's most likely because this way they could turn around. If it did get any press, they could just say, oh, Hamas shot them in the head. This is how brutal they are.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of it is PR campaign, PR spinning. Media spinning, and that's why I feel that, and I'm not going to deny there's anti-Semitism because there is, because I see the neo-Nazis online, man, and they scare the shit out of me in terms of how slick and sleazy they are. jumping into the pro-Palestinian side. But on the other hand,
Right.
all this spin on shit that is actually being done and then being covered with the idea you're just being anti-Semitic is adding to the shit in the first. It's like a vicious cycle,
Right.
and it's yeah, not good, not good. Because this, oh well, it's anti-Semitic. I'll give you here in Europe, you have 3 different examples. Germany just made it illegal to say to deny the state of Israel. You can do jail time.
That's ridiculous.
England, England, they're putting people in jail for sharing links.
Hmm.
And then you got Spain, who just kicked out the Israeli ambassador. It's like, get the fuck out. And actually said,
Yeah,
you can't, if you're Israeli, because you've participated in the IDF, you
right.
can't enter Spain.
Yeah.
And by and large, the PSOE, Partido Socialista, Socialist Party, has always been mamby-pamby. Like, they always kind of like, all right, we'll let the right do their thing, the far right. But for them to be that hard line is wild to me. It's like seeing a centrist party all of a sudden going, I don't think so, which
Yeah.
is wild. And in what universe, again, do we find Spain? Universe laughs at us all the time. The big imperial Spain, or former imperial Spain, standing up for the smallest amongst us.
Yeah. We're in the upside down, right?
It's to the fucking point. I'm seeing videos of Turks, because the game is today, putting up Spanish flags.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just tell you, the Turks, the relationship between Turkey and Spain is kind of akin to the Vulcans and Klingons. You can pick whichever one falls in. Yeah, they fought each other fucking viciously.
Right.
And seeing that is just like, all right, so what universe did I fucking enter into?
Right.
Turkey.
We're definitely in an alternate reality.
Alternate reality. And the Turks, not just for the pro-Palestinian, because Spain did not go along with the invasion of Iran and stood up to Trump. That is one of the big reasons that Turks now look at Spain favorably.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to drink all this whole new reality in, because
Mm-hmm.
this is not the world that it was. It would be like all of a sudden the United States and Russia
Right.
going back to being like super buddies,
Right.
which would be nice. You know, I'm not going to deny that.
It would
But
be nice. It's. I would prefer to see the United States stop talking shit about China, because clearly we've been working with them for over 30 plus years. It's like, and stop the fucking Cold War rhetoric. Stop calling people the enemy. Stop demonizing Arabs. The world could be at peace. We don't have to all get along and agree with everything, same God, same religion. We don't need to be under that one world religion ideology.
Which will never happen, because
will never
we'll fight
happen.
over like different variations forever.
People will, you know, I'm not religious, but I know religious people are willing to die for their belief, whether it's bullshit or not.
Yeah.
And the more bullshit it is, the harder they're going to die for it. Kind of like MAGA.
Yeah.
MAGA is a religion, right?
It works with that religion thing. Actually, yeah, the House of the Republican House, whatever it was called, talking about fighting communism.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dudes, we can't even fight a middleweight like Iran.
Right.
Like, we're getting our asses kicked by Iran. You're gonna try China? Like,
right, you just
like, you know, how about we fix some fucking roads and get our shit and start feeding our people and doing some serious adult shit.
It's basically an excuse to steal more money from the taxpayer. That's all.
Absolutely. But the thing is, they don't even need to steal the money from the taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes usually work well for states, because states can't make their own money.
Mm-hmm.
These motherfuckers have a printing press. They can print whatever the fuck they want to.
Right.
You know? so you know,
he's much lighter now. I got the new quarter, and it was like light as fuck. I felt like a penny. I was like, this is worthless.
Yeah.
There's no value in this thing. It's just like,
yeah.
shit.
And really, I mean, in the end, I said, like,
Yeah.
it's representative of money, but
Mm-hmm.
the grave sin, or I guess you could say the great con, is realizing so we can print our own money. We are printing our own money.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to a bunch of rich guys that don't do jack shit
Mm-hmm.
so they can buy another yacht. And this money could actually be spent on actually generating an economy, you know, roads, electricity grids, fixing bridges, getting people working, fed, and
Mm-hmm.
being normal.
Exactly.
So then they play the household game. The
Right.
household game is, you know, balancing a budget is like a household budget. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a fucking magic printer that I can print my money,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, and that's
So
what the Nazis did too. Towards the end of the war, right when they started losing, they were printing their own money, and it actually broke their economy again. You know.
well, that was before. That's what World War One. And here's the thing.
But weren't the Nazis printing more money to continue the war machine as they were losing to Russia? And
Uh,
they started
it
repeating the
was
same mistake as World War One.
the major printing was you see here. It was the Republic that ended up where you see the wheelbarrows
Yeah,
with the money. That was before World War II. That's what led to the Nazis.
yeah,
But
yeah.
here's the thing: people have to understand. If you print money and it circulates within your country, it's okay, right? Because it's going within. The problem is when you have outgoing debts. So Germany had the problem of with the Versailles Treaty, they had to pay all these war reparations. So the money's going out.
Out, yeah.
So it makes your money less valuable.
Right.
Whether or not the Nazis were towards the end, they had so much gold in fucking Switzerland.
That's true.
And Switzerland was the go-between. They always portray Switzerland as being neutral. They were the fucking go-between. They were the banker for the Nazis.
Basically, yes.
So they paid their debts through Switzerland.
Between them and the United States.
Yeah.
Jeb
Switzerland
Bush.
gets a lot of love, but it shouldn't really. It was pretty sleazy in that situation. But we could be living, I, I wouldn't say paradise utopia, but fucking better.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I agree with you. We don't need any of these. We're going to have conflicts, but I don't think we will have these kind of fucking nutty conflicts.
Right. I think we should focus on scamming, which made like $14 billion scamming Americans, these online scammings. That's what we need to focus on. Abductions, like all these women being abducted, going God knows where. That's in the millions. You know, we had 2 million children disappear and women disappear like just a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, and then people need to get their shit together. I mean, it's just road, it's infrastructure, it's unemployment, it's crime, school shooters. That's like a big. Why do we have so many fucking school shooters?
Well, you know, depression comes in.
Assholes, you know, it's just
I sort of view it like this: that depression comes in. You don't have infrastructure, so then you can't deliver shit. Because it starts to cost more to drive shit over places because it starts to damage your cars, your equipment, your tires, all this stuff. All this shit adds up. And when you can't deliver shit, then, oh, well, I'm not going to ship to this town because their roads are fucked. It no longer exists. The town starts to die out. People start to move to other places. So it's a perpetuating thing that infrastructure and poverty work hand in hand. The Chinese have a saying. They say, if you want to become wealthy, it's something like build a road. In other words, you need trade. But we have a lot of MAGA people who have this bizarre idea of let's just close ourselves off to the world.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Which is like, let me embargo myself.
Right.
What?
I mean, granted, the United States has enough natural resources that we don't need to import food. We used to be an exporter of food. Now we're an importer.
Yeah, but there's other resources.
We destroyed all our crops because of the land is damaged because of all the corn that we're producing.
Yeah, in places that are not supposed to be grazed.
Right. So
Like
that's a major issue. Like, well, we got damaged land that, you know, that would take a long time.
Because the Midwest was actually a savanna. People don't know this. Like they think of the buffalo, they don't realize that the buffalo actually kept the savanna alive. That the
Mhm.
wild grasses that grew there
Mhm.
go really deep into the ground.
Mhm.
And when the government decided to defeat the Lakota because they had gotten their asses kicked over and over again. Good for you guys.
Mhm.
We decided to exterminate or near exterminate the buffalo
Yeah.
to kill their food supply. Then we brought in the farmers.
Mhm.
Start to get rid of the grass, which stays very rooted. We start to bring in corn and wheat and shit. The soil is very thin.
Mhm.
The roots don't go far enough down to stay in the ground.
Mhm.
So eventually what happened, it started to lead to things like the Dust Bowl. It's
Yeah.
not intended to be in that environment,
Right.
you know. And instead of listening to the indigenous going, hey, how'd you guys fucking manage this?
Right.
It's like anyone. You just got the car from someone.
Right.
It's fucked up. You might want to call the previous owner and go, yeah, I
Right.
kind of fucked it up. Is there anything I should know? Right?
Go
And get
grass.
them back involved in it. No, we get stubborn. Like even a lot of the fires in California,
Yeah.
Native Americans kept telling us. I remember watching a Democracy Now episode,
Yeah. They used to create intentional fires, right?
intentional fires, and
Yeah.
Amy Goodman, God bless her soul, was
Mhm.
pushing the idea of climate change.
Right.
And the Native American brother, who was an environmentalist, he was saying, yes, that is true, but we've kept telling you guys
Right.
you
Forever.
need to have controlled fires
Right.
because this region is prone to it. Some of
Right.
the trees
Mhm.
actually their seeds spread thanks to fires,
Mhm.
right? The indigenous people of Australia, same thing, kept telling Australians, you got to burn some of the shit.
Mhm.
Same shit. So there's a lot of things we could be learning, and we just don't, and it affects all of us right now.
A lot of that comes from infrastructure too, because you'll see like whenever I go to California, even on the side of the highway, you'll see a fire because it gets so hot, you know, and they don't clean up the highways. They don't clean up the dead wood, the dried out wood.
The glass,
That's jobs right there. It's like clean that shit out. They just have trees rotting on top of trees, and then of course it's going to cause a fire.
or someone goes out camping, they throw their bottle,
Right.
that becomes a magnifying glass,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Uh, and,
the garbage.
and I know that well because I've actually seen some of the fires in
Yeah.
Portugal.
I mean, and I used to stay in Kingston, New York once a year, years back, which is about an hour from here. I remember a friend of mine lived in the woods. Like he was like a quarter mile away from the main road.
He's out there with Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, yeah. It's like in those A-framed houses. I remember
Mhm.
we were going and walking in the woods. We'd shoot these little short movies just for fun, you know. And I remember that there was this one patch of land that was not covered by the tree, and it was smoking. And I was like, dude, this is a fucking gonna be a forest fire. Like it was a whole ground. The sun was just beaming on the ground, and it was all smoldering, and it was dead grass. It was like shit that if someone was paying attention, the city or the township, you know, of Kingston, New York, should have been cleaning out that dead brush. And it's not even California. This is New York, right? It's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of humidity. Well, we called the fire department. They couldn't get in. They had to go and carry the water. The hose was not long enough to get to where, so they had to like take the hose as far as it can go, and then they were bucketing it manually, trying to put this shit out for hours. So imagine California. It's like,
Yeah.
it takes weeks, but that could all be avoided if in the spring, as soon as this, it doesn't even snow there, right? So in the winter, their fall and winter should be cleanup for all that brush shit,
That's what the indigenous have been telling their hard heads,
you know.
and they
But they
don't
didn't
listen
do
to it.
it.
Like a lot of the environmental issues that we have, if we listen to the indigenous people around the world,
Yeah,
we wouldn't have them.
right.
But there is also amongst the environmentalist side and the
Mhm,
left side two forms of dismissing the indigenous.
mhm,
You have the ones who view them as, oh, you're looking at them as like these magical people, which is just downright condescending. And then you have the other side who wants to view them as they were a noble savage. So
mhm,
they lived out in the land and they did all their stuff. But when you study any bit about the indigenous people, they developed a different form of technology from Europe.
Mm,
Like the Amazon right now, they're thinking it was a garden. It was actually created by humans. It
mhm.
just didn't spring up that way. It was
Right,
basically horticulture on a
right,
massive scale,
right.
right? And that really disturbs a lot of those people who think that way because
Mhm.
they want to imagine that at some point we were like this Adam and Eve living in this garden instead of like the indigenous, they didn't come up with like, swords made of metal and armor and all this other shit, but they created other things
Right,
that benefits us today. Things
right,
that if we didn't have, we wouldn't be able to talk right now, like
right,
rubber,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so maybe going back,
Leopold.
what's that?
Leopold with the rubber, right?
With the rubber. Well, yeah, that's yeah, but
You know?
um, I remember reading about. Have you ever read the book 1493?
No.
It's a fantastic book. 1491 is great.
Mhm.
It's written by an American, forget his name right now, but it deals with the Americas before the Spaniards showed up and Europeans showed up.
Mhm.
1493 deals with after the Spanish show up.
Mhm.
And there's one thing that sticks to my mind that I think about every so often, and that is when some of the indigenous people from the Mexica, I don't believe it was Mexico, they went and traveled around Europe, and they would show this game, which was almost like you use your hip and the ball.
Mhm.
Europeans up until that point had never seen anything bounce that high or
Right.
bounce. They were
Right.
looking at rubber like, what the hell is that? Right? Because it's elastic.
Right.
And we can thank the Americas and the indigenous people for that.
Mhm.
They gave us many things.
Mhm.
And instead of viewing them and giving them respect as though they're just a different civilization,
Right.
we
Wait.
put them to the side. But if anyone knows how the fucking land works, it's going to be the indigenous. Not because they're Avatar,
Right, right, right,
not
right. Exactly.
Avatar. It's because they were actually observing in their own scientific way how the shit worked.
I
You
think
know?
Avatar is a very good since you mentioned it, is a very good allegory of how colonialism takes place, that we see a native group there and let's take their resources. Oh, look at they have these indigenous whales. Oh, let's take their brain fluid. Oh, let's
Yeah,
take, let's
yeah,
chop up down these trees. Oh, let's get
right.
that is a very white thing, a very European thing, right? Like, oh, let's steal their resources. It's like, why not make a treaty and just share with them? Why don't we just
Yeah,
trade? Trade was, you need oil, America, which I doubt, but instead of stealing Venezuela's oil and making up bullshit about drugs and killing off 200 people on boats that are fishermen, why don't you just come up with a good trade deal, right? The president of deals can't make a deal. It's like, give me a break.
I think it's because
They don't respect people
this,
of color.
there's a thing very much deep in the European heart,
Mhm,
and most Europeans would get angry for me saying this, but
mhm,
because and I say we because yeah, I'm part European.
mhm,
Um, we like to think of ourselves as rational.
mhm,
We like to think that because we're rational, we're civilized.
mhm.
But for the most part, we have been run by dominance, not ration.
Right,
So dominance, we in our brains we translate that through as being um, advanced.
right,
I conquered everyone, therefore, through some weird social Darwinian thing, I'm the best.
right.
But to admit that would then admit that no, that's actually a very brutish,
Mhm,
very uncivilized thing. So when I look at Avatar, and I have a push and pull with Avatar. I look at Avatar, it's through a white man's eyes.
mhm. Oh, for
But I
sure.
also give Cameron the space that he's also trying to work through some of the colonial things, even though if he doesn't realize it. But I
Mhm,
think what would have balanced out Avatar as a series would have been having someone to write with for Cameron who is from indigenous eyes.
Right, because it's still a white guy he's like a clone of an indigenous person as the hero. It's like
Yeah,
so
I
the
think, and
white
some people see it.
savior. He's basically like it has a white savior mentality.
There's the white savior mentality, but I think there's something even deeper
Like he
to it.
commodified to this clone to become one of the indigenous.
I see
Yeah.
white guilt,
Yeah.
which, and I can understand because, as I told you, I live in these two worlds, right?
Right.
On the one hand, I could fully embrace my African American side and completely demonize my European side.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be being at war within myself.
Right.
But on the other side, I see where Cameron's coming from. We did this. How now do I get to fix this?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you see an injustice and then you accept it,
Mm-hmm.
you can't just sit back and go, well, that's just the way it is, because that's terrible.
Right.
But on the other hand, you want to fix it, then you become the white savior.
Right.
So I can kind of see where he's going with that. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on that, because it's not a very good position to be in. You want to be able to help. But I think the way you help is then you go and you listen to the people that you
Mhm.
wronged.
Right.
You
And
know,
compensate them.
yeah, like how I know I fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know I'm incapable of fixing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the most unlikely person to be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But, and you probably think I'm fucking crazy for asking this, but how do we fix this?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that I can do to assist you to solve this problem? Because in the end, it ends up helping the colonizer, like Frantz Fanon, the
Right.
great psychologist and very controversial. He said it wasn't just a matter of the colonized being decolonized, but the colonizer decolonizing himself.
Right.
And I think in the English-speaking world, we've kind of gotten to the point where we got to decolonize, but we forget that the colonizers have to decolonize themselves too.
Mm-hmm.
And but for me, Avatar is like a half that. He's
Mm-hmm.
trying to deal with it, and he's what, 70?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not expecting a 70-year-old white Canadian guy to have all the answers, but I do see it in one way. And
Mm-hmm.
it's one, and I know a lot of indigenous people don't like Avatar for it because it does romanticize them and it make them more invisible, and I understand that. But I see it in one way. It opens up then a little window for those indigenous writers to be able to piggyback and jump off that and actually give us
The actual
their,
historical accounts. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we have
You
to
think
see it as
the Americans,
links.
we see all these movies about George Washington or the American Revolution, but you don't see a lot of movies about the Indian. You see movies about Indians in like The Last of the Mohicans, but that's really he's like a half mixed guy. He's again like he's another Avatar. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not really historical. They use historical facts, but it's fictionally told. It's like a lot of
And it's funny because I was just
you
reading
know.
this morning. One of the most painful parts, because we always talk about settler colonialism, right? People do. But it's always very cut and dry. The indigenous and then the colonizers.
Right,
Till you get to the fucking Cherokee Nation,
right.
which had a lot of half.
Mm-hmm.
They were not the nice ones.
Right,
The
right,
half European, half indigenous, because they wanted to get closer to the Europeans,
right,
started to have plantations and
right.
African Americans as enslaved people.
That's
That's
right.
when shit gets messy.
Right, right.
And we as Americans run away from messy
Oh yeah.
instead of going, all right, let's
We
fucking
have
dig
to
into
because
this.
we're a culture of extreme absolutes.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't
And
want
instead of learning like from that messy side, because Indian country, for lack of a better word,
hmm
was heavily divided.
Yeah,
You had the ones who wanted to continue living the old ways, and then you had the others who wanted to become more Europeanized.
right.
Now, the ones who became more Europeanized in Georgia and the area that we call Tennessee got fucked over by their uncles because they're like, yeah, we're sending you over, Trail of Tears. That was their fucking family.
Right, exactly.
And along that trail of tears, because everyone always brings it up, yeah, there was a lot of indigenous people who died. A lot of them who didn't own slaves, by the way. But there were also a lot of African Americans who died on that trail. That complicates shit because I think the world of the Lakota, because to me, the Lakota, yes, are that quintessential Native American. We're sticking it to the system. But not all the nations of the Americas were like that.
Right.
And we like to think of the Lakota and then apply that to everyone else because we don't like that messiness.
Right.
History sucks sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, like blankets everything.
Yeah.
We're talking about history. I mean, something major happened in history this month of July that
Oh, July.
No, I'm not talking about the 4th of July, but this happened this past month and nobody really covered it in America. So let's look at this video. Here we go.
This was big news for Palestine, but was not all over the news. Listen.
The state of Palestine can now enjoy its right to be seated among member states of the General Assembly in alphabetical order. Mr. Honorable President, this is not merely a procedural matter. This is a historic moment for us. The state of Palestine should be seated in the General Assembly among member states, full members. This is history in the making. For 140 or more than that of us, the state of Palestine possesses all the legal elements of a state.
Now that's great. They still don't have full membership, but this is what they do have. The Palestinians can now submit proposals and amendments and sit among member states. This is a huge and significant step forward for the Palestinian people and for the Palestinian state. This is a big victory, and that's why it's not all over the news. So this was big news.
And what's interesting is that despite that, they're still getting
It was in Haaretz.
Yeah, it was in Haaretz. That's right. Right? In the Israel Times, right? You saw that?
They're actually covering it.
Right.
Bad world we're living in.
So it seems like the Israeli media covers more of what's happening than the American media.
Yeah, they do. They do.
But-
Actually, I'll give kudos to the Israeli media.
Oh yeah, I give them a lot of credit. They've been covering
They're way more honest than ours.
way more. And then not
Way
just
more.
that, it's also another thing that you don't see in American media is how we try to like uplift this guy Netanyahu for whatever God forsaken reason.
Someone's uplifting Netanyahu.
Like America loves this guy. Like they treat him.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. That's true.
And his own country can't stand the man. I mean, they really can't. I mean, even things pertaining to his own country, like this happened, and this was about conscription of the religious Jews, because they're trying to take
the Orthodox, yeah.
So he's trying to extend it and stretch it out. So this doesn't deal with Gaza or anything like that, but just shows you their natural contempt for the man. They're like sick of him already. This is like the cherry on top. So this happened,
SCBB. Wow. Was that from the left or the right?
What's that?
Was that the left side, the left wing of in Israel? Or
I think they're both sick of him. They want him out.
Oh, that's bad when both get together.
They want him out because of corruption and all this other stuff. I mean, so delay the rest of so this is based on the prosecution of ultra-Orthodox evading military service. So that's about. But
yeah, because they're supposed to be from the tribe of Levi. And
right.
They're not supposed to. They're supposed to just do religious studies and not
right.
No military service, because the tribe of Levi traditionally didn't do that. They were the priests.
Right.
Right.
So it seems that he's getting hate no matter what he does.
You know what? I'm going to be very cynical. They'll still put up with him.
Well, yeah.
I don't think they're getting rid of him. He's too wily.
Well, they have two different guys are running for his position now, and he's not allowed to re-up his service time. So
Really? Well, I could see him making a state of emergency to stay.
well,
That's
that's
kind of
exactly
dictator kind of guy.
what's going on.
Yeah.
You
Is it
know?
Smoltrich, that freak? Smoltrich is that guy whose son I think got killed.
Yeah.
He's way more like openly with his genocide.
Oh yeah.
Genocide.
He's not hiding it at all. Not at all.
No. So if it's those guys, I mean, Israel doesn't have too many choices, and
Right. Exactly.
you know.
And then we have this reel over here. One more. Got one more. News from Israel. People get mad at me when I do this business. Like, come on, man. We gotta be.
What's so bad? I'm like, what's their problem? Like,
We're
I
in
mean,
our 50s. Come on. I don't understand. They're like, this is like, come on. We're half dead. Come on. We gotta play.
נתניהו המושחת, נאשם בפלילים, מעז לבחוש בקרביה של מערכת המשפט.
תחזור בך בבקשה.
ממה?
תחזור בך בבקשה.
ממה?
האשמת שווא. האשמת שווא.
בנימין נתניהו לא נאשם בפלילים?
לא. בנימין נתניהו, ראש הממשלה, אינו אדם מושחת.
בנימין נתניהו...
לא, תקשיב.
לא, אדוני, לא. אתה לא תסתום לי את הפה.
תקשיב. ואני לא אאפשר לך...
אין לך ברירה.
ואני לא אאפשר לך להשתמש בבמה המכובדת הזאת כדי להעליל על לא שווא.
נתניהו המושחת, ראש הממשלה הנאשם בפלילים, שהפר ברגל גסה את הסכם ניגוד העניינים, בעוד הבן שלו משתמט במיאמי. המנהיג המושחת ששולח את ידיו לקופה הציבורית, שמשחית כל נורמה שלטונית, בנימין נתניהו המושחת שהשחית את הפוליטיקה הישראלית, האיש שהביא עלינו בשחיתותו את ה7 באוקטובר, האיש שהתעסק בלפרק את מערכת המשפט, בלקרוע לגזרים את החברה הישראלית במקום להילחם באויבי ישראל. אתה תסתום לי את הפה. בנימין נתניהו והוא אשם.
חבר הכנסת שקלים, תודה, אני לא זקוק לזה.
הנרצחים והנופלים על ידיו של המושחת הזה.
So it's like, why don't we see this in the United States? I think
Oh,
people need to see this.
because I think the biggest form of anti-Semitism comes from our media.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like
But this is Jewish news.
but I think the biggest form of anti-Semitism comes from our media because they lump all Jewish voices into one.
Yeah.
As opposed to affording nuance, which would be pro-Semitic, I guess you could say, because you're hearing everyone's voice.
Yeah.
My fear now is from seeing stuff like this and other reports I've been seeing, there's a possibility. I mean, that Israel could tear itself apart.
It's happening.
Internally. And it's happening, it's not looking good for that country, but
No.
and I could see Netanyahu trying to pull a fast one and become dictator.
He has, because remember before October 7th, he was actually trying to basically get rid of the courts. He was trying to get rid of the courts because he was going to be facing a prison sentence, and he was just basically trying to get out of it.
Yeah. No, it's
He was
but
trying.
we're not afforded that because that would mean why are we supporting this shit?
Right. What they're having their own. They're going to have their own civil war.
Yeah. That's
the reality.
That's effed up. And they could have a civil war while they're fighting Iran.
Right. Exactly. It's like if you look at this website here, that video was from this website here, which is an Israeli website. They're facing. I mean, we talk about our country having our civil war. I mean, they're going to have.
I think they're going to have the real deal. I don't think we're in the mental space. We hate each other's guts over politics.
Right. But
There's shit that's happening.
Right.
But they are closer to the actual violence that they're committing in Palestine. And they're normalizing that violence.
Right.
And that also affects. we normalize our violence far away. It does affect us internally, but I don't think we're ideologically fully set for something like that.
I mean, look at their locations. This group is all over Europe. They're all over America, Houston, Mexico City, Seattle, Washington.
Wow.
Tokyo. You know, this is a major movement that's going across. You know, Unacceptable is a grassroots movement launched by Israeli expats in support of democratic Israel. We call on world Jewry to come together and preserve the democratic identity of Israel as a home of all of its inhabitants. Right.
I wonder how that's going to play out, because there's a lot of people in the Jewry who don't see Israel as being a valid state.
Right.
Because if you follow the religion,
right?
But here's the funny part, and this is, I think, the part that Christians don't understand. Judaism is a by its very nature very argumentative. You have Abraham who basically barters with God to try to save Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
By the time we get to Jesus like, all right, you tell me to, I'll do it. You know, you don't really have him going, okay, well, this sounds kind of crazy, God. Like, what do you mean you want me to die on a cross? Like, there's a little bit, but it isn't like that debate. And I think that's why Jewish humor is so awesome, because people like Larry David.
Right, I was thinking Larry David.
Yeah, Larry David's awesome for that.
I could see that I could see Larry David acting as that guy. What do you mean I should stop? What are you talking about? What did I say wrong? That he's a criminal?
I just pictured if anyone was going to play Abraham in the history of the world part whatever, it was Larry David. What do you mean you're going to kill? What? Come on, man. And like arguing, because, you know, and I think it's a great disservice to not have those debates, because that is the core of Judaism. Is to have those debates, to talk about. And I mean, the whole Talmud really is debates between rabbis anyway. I know a lot of people make a big hay about it, but really it's like old guys going back and forth over, is this true? Is this that? Is that, you know, it's arguing, essentially. I mean, there are things in it where you're like, really
thing. I mean, that's what makes us understand one another, right? It's like,
exactly. However, Christianity,
you have war. Without debate, you have war.
Sadly, Christianity, if it had that component, it didn't come along with it.
Right.
We obey. You do it because God said so. But that sounds kind of crazy. Don't think about it. Just do it. Right. That's, I think, one of the problems. Islam has a little bit of that too. There's I remember reading, actually a friend of mine who's Muslim was telling me it's actually in the Quran. So apparently Muhammad goes up and he talks to God. God gives him all these fucking like rules for humans. Right? And he's coming down from the mountain, and he's coming down. Moses is going up. And he goes, oh yeah, how'd it go for you? I was like, yeah, he gave me all these rules and stuff. And he looks and goes, how many rules did he give you? Oh, like, 100 and something. He's like, fuck, those people aren't going to follow 100 rules. You go back up there and argue them back down to 10.
Oh, Mel Brooks, I got 15.
So there's really some hilarious parts and beliefs that people have. And it's interesting. Right there, it tells you. And that's why I really think that the anti-Semitism is so flawed, because it flattens out Jewish people into one sector of people who are using Judaism to their own ends. But if you actually inspect it, it's open for debate. You're able to debate, and it's really sad that's not happening.
Right. It's not happening.
That's why I say our media is anti-Semitic.
Instead of bombing people, why not debate it, right? Why can't they have their own state? It's already recognized as a state. We keep bombing them. There's no more army. There's no more Hamas to fight.
And here's the crazy thing. There are Palestinians who are Jews who are getting bombed.
Yep, and Christians. Yep.
Christians. Same thing in Iran. One of the biggest groups of one of the biggest in the diaspora is in Iran.
Right.
You know,
They don't
so
know that. I want you to
yeah,
think
but
it's like it's almost like the 5 boroughs. It's like Israel's kind of like we're Manhattan, and everybody else doesn't count.
yeah, and they did this really good job. Like our media did a really good job. That as soon as you say Palestinian, boom, Muslim.
Right.
And that's not to say if they were all Muslims, we should be doing that shit because we shouldn't be doing that shit.
Right. Right.
Iran, Muslim. Meanwhile, they got a metro station in Tehran, from what I saw, dedicated to the Virgin Mary.
Yeah. Even when I live here, I have a it's funny. It's like I live in a very red town, like interesting demographically in this town is that you have a lot of Hasidic Jews moving in here, right? And you also have an Egyptian Coptic church. So it's like, and they live next to each other. It's like
traditionally,
it's not. People think Egyptian, they're Muslim. Like, no, they're not. It's
no, and the Coptics are fucking old.
Yeah,
I mean, the only ones I could think are older than them, Ethiopians.
Yeah.
Like they're so fucking old that the first convert outside of the disciples was when we talked about this, an Ethiopian, right? But yeah, no, the Middle East is always portrayed as though everybody just piled up on Jewish people.
Right.
Who piled up on Jewish people were the European Christians.
Right.
They're the ones who went there and killed a whole shitload of Jewish people and Muslims.
Right.
Muslims were the ones who actually stood up for them. What the fuck you guys doing?
Yeah. Then they put a lot of their bastards into the child crusade and all that stuff, shipping them out, child slavery and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Child labor.
Again, Europe likes to see itself as one thing without acknowledging what it really was internally.
Exactly.
I don't know. Did I ever mention this? Yeah, I think I mentioned that about The Godfather 3. I think I mentioned that last week.
Yeah. You can mention it again because we're old.
Yeah, no, I was like, go right back to
ourselves. We're allowed.
Europe, man. When Christianity became part of Rome, that's when a weird hypocritical duality happened.
Yeah,
because it created imperial Christianity, which is a contradiction in terms. It's like, what the fuck? Unless you're going out there giving everybody a free coat.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are you talking about? Killing people? That's completely the opposite of Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. And going into religion and government in Rome, I'm going to introduce The Adventures of Luther Arkwright. This was given to me by a friend of mine at Trukino some years ago. I find it interesting because even in this cover, you see like you get the British flag there, but then it also subliminally turns into an eye. All right, so it's like it's like the subliminal. So this is like this time traveling adventure. It's very British. It's like this very fascist future. And this guy's kind of like a time traveler.
You mean just the present, right?
Yeah, like the present, exactly. But it's like interesting, the art. Talbot, he used to work for DC too. Brian Talbot, he's done a lot of books that were actually connected to this one too. That other book, I can't remember the titles, because my brain is not. But the artwork's really great.
I wonder if he ever worked on Conan.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
He kind of has some aspects of kind
I think he did Swamp Thing. I think he did do Swamp Thing for a little bit,
Yeah.
I mean, his artwork is really amazing. Yeah, there was another book that he did in the late 90s, close to the 2000s. And I remember it because it was like, he actually, in the credits, he had the guy who played R2-D2 because he was drawing his likeness as one of the characters.
Kenny Baker.
So Kenny Baker was, and it was a character. I guess if they were planning to do a movie, maybe they're trying to option it for a film, and then they were using Kenny Baker's likeness and put his name in the credits.
Oh, that's funny. That's cool.
So there is 9 issues of this. It's really good, and I think it's very similar to a TV show I'm watching called 12 Monkeys, which is based off of the Bruce Willis Brad Pitt film.
Which actually was based on a short French film.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
The TV series that they did is like really amazing. It's actually better than the movie in some ways.
Yeah, I can see.
At first, I was just like, "Oh, this show is nothing like the movie," but then it was actually ended up being better. Now that I'm on season 4,
I think we've got more spoiled by series because you're able to elaborate more.
Yeah.
With movies, you have to just cram as much shit as you can in and hope to God.
And then you have this character, October, which was an actual revolutionary character for Russia, which was public domain, was featured in this character. Now you have this American company 4 years ago bringing her back. Whole history of her, and have these shorts. It's indie shorts. This one I bought from and Stephen Harris of Brooklyn. You know, he's famous for doing the Aztec comic, and Indigo Clan is his own book. So this is like, and this is like it's kind of like an anthology of different artists doing different October shorts. I feel in some way they kind of lost the thread of the character's roots. I mean, maybe that's just my judgment. But
and it was supposed to be like a Soviet character?
Yeah, she's like a Soviet revolutionary character. The author's name was originally nobody knew who she was because it was a revolutionary book, right? But in this book, they give credit to someone. I don't know if they're the actual real author, because from what I read in the Brian Talbot book is that no one really knew who the true author was.
So my question then to you is this.
I mean, that's they're kind of trying to bring her back to the
in the book. Do they kind of stick to revolutionary ideas?
Yeah, to some degree, but they make it more fictional, like she's fighting like weird creatures instead of actual. They make her more, like Americans tend to do, right? They're making it less about government and more about, like this whole time travel aspect to it. Like
it's funny because
in
some sense, it's gonna sound nuts, but Ripley, you can have all the creatures, you can have all the stuff,
right?
But she could actually fall more in line better.
Right, exactly.
She's dealing with the corporations. We always think of the governments, but we forget that the corporations are really, the governments are just a skin for the corporations.
Yeah, very true. Aliens is very political if you think about that. Yeah,
very political. Fantastic. Actually, yesterday was the 40th anniversary of the sequel, Aliens.
Wow.
Yeah, 40 years. I know, right?
Jesus.
I remember seeing that. I think I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, me too. I remember sneaking in. They were like, well, we tried to sneak in. We didn't sneak in, like saw the movie for free. We snuck online because the line was literally wrapped around 4 rows. This is like the multiplex. This is like when the Whitestone Cinema in the Bronx. You had to be 18 and over to see this movie. And I believe I was 12 in 1985, 86, 12. Yeah. So we snuck into the movie because they used to stop me like, where's your parents?
I think my brother took me.
But we stood next to some teenagers that were clearly getting tickets. And then we also ordered our tickets and tried to pretend we were with them. And that's how we were. But we also cut the line. Like we deeply cut the line. Like we were like, shows are being sold out. I think when Aliens dropped, that's the sequel, not their first one, but the sequel was, there were like multiple theaters in this multiplex playing it. It was like 4 or 5 theaters playing it that opening day, and they were selling out, and people were getting mad. Like, people were waiting 2-3 hours in line. So we were just like, cut. And we got in before the last sellout cut off, just by pretending to be, we were resourceful little kids. We're like, fuck this. We're not waiting 3 hours. Yeah. Every girl was dressed up like Lisa in the Cult Jam, because like with different color headbands and that.
Holy shit, I haven't heard that name in a long time. Wow, Lisa in the Cult Jam.
Yeah, like every chick was dressed up. Like, it was very interesting to see, like, you always see people like, and they do movies about the 80s, they always imitate Michael Jackson or Madonna, girls dressed up. You don't see movies showing like an 80s throwback of girls dressed up like Lisa and what a big impact she had,
So my question, who's making these movies?
Right, exactly, right.
I mean, there's enough Gen Xers to get
Right.
people to go, okay, this is what it mostly look like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's my question. Is it boomers?
Yeah. I mean, I remember that summer, like every fucking girl was like dressed up like fucking Lisa.
Do you remember when they used to have all the girls had all those bracelets?
The bracelets because
Like Madonna?
Yeah, the rubber bracelets, and then that was also Culture Club. Like a lot of people loved
Oh,
it.
that's right.
With Boy George, right? Like the boy.
Yeah, where some people thought he was a woman.
Yeah, they couldn't
You
tell.
know. And I laugh because today we're talking about all this transgender stuff, and it's like
Woke. It's like,
dude, if you grew up with David Bowie, Grace Jones, and Culture
Right.
Club, this should not be a fucking problem for you.
right, or even Twisted Sister, right?
Twisted Sister, yes. What do you want to do with your life?
Right,
Right? Kiss. I mean, Kiss.
Kiss,
They
right?
try to pretend I'll be all manly men, but
Thompson twins, right?
Thompson twins.
You know,
Was it Human League?
Human League, yes.
So is that ambiguous? And it's actually Charlie Murphy when he talks about that run-in with Prince.
Right.
He talks about back in the 80s when everybody was being gender ambiguous.
Right.
It's like, so what happened to us that we're freaking out about this now?
Right. And this is our generation freaking about it. Like, what the fuck? Where have you been? Like, what time?
Exactly. People they freaked out about Annie Lennox back.
You couldn't tell if Terrence Trent D'Arby was a guy or a girl.
Yeah, you had Annie Lennox.
Annie Lennox, right?
She got a lot of heat because she kind of grew out her hair, but not completely. But that movie, that video, Sweet Dreams.
Yeah.
Apparently, the censors freaked out over her.
Yeah.
So, what is this bullshit that we're all buying into? It's like,
right. It's religion. That's what it is.
Yeah, I guess some of us just got the religious bug. We got to do
feel
all
that
the.
people are more religious today than they were back then. Especially younger people.
I think, and as much as I love Prince, but he did all his shit.
Right, exactly.
And then he got religious. You got your stuff. I got all my stuff in now. Now I'm good.
Right.
Now I'm gonna be religious. Like what?
Right.
Come on now.
I think it's funny because it's just like I remember growing up in church and it was mostly the elderly that were the devout and the young kids were like, we're just kind of here. We're here because our parents make us come, but it doesn't seem that way. Now it seems like the young people are really invested and believe in this shit. And it's just like, hey man, it's just mythology, relax.
And I think it's in two camps. So you have the more religious kids and then you have the more secular kids.
Yeah.
And the more secular kids will come out fighting tooth and nail about a lot of the transgender issues and racial issues.
Yeah.
And the religious ones try to cling to values that never really existed.
Right.
Like they're just
illusion
of something that Norman Rockwell.
Right. It's not real. It's based on what? It's that never happened. That stuff never. You know what I mean? It's
never happened. We've always had transgender people and
always. I mean, I remember
people.
We had like cross dressers on TV in the 70s, right?
Bugs Bunny in
the 40s, right? It's
fucking
like
famous.
Archie Bunker had a reoccurring character that was a gay guy who was a cross dresser,
and
that was Archie Bunker,
Milton Berle would always dress up as a woman.
Flip Wilson.
Like, come on now. Well, how do we? And it's funny because the same people that complain about the transgender people and all this stuff will then turn around and go, it's not like it was in the 50s. Dude, it's exactly the same. You're the freak who's freaking out about this shit, making a bigger deal about it than you should. Now, granted, there's some on the other side of the spectrum that do kind of try to push it in a more serious way in some degrees, but they don't even come close to the outrageousness of the right. It's just like chill. If someone wants to be that, let them live their lives.
as long as they're not, as long as they're not, as long as it's not the war of the transgenders are invading another country.
Yeah, it's not happening. Come on now.
It's
Come
not
on.
a war. It's not an actual war. It's not an actual, it's like,
It's so fucking stupid. Right.
they're invading your homes.
It's so stupid.
They're invading
Actually,
your classrooms. It's like,
to give you an example as to how we're fucked up like that, do you remember Battle of the Planets? They call it G-Force sometimes.
Yeah.
So they had to reimagine the main villain for the American market. Like they completely butchered that cartoon.
Right.
Because the main villain in that was both male and female. So they were a transsexual character. So they split this character in half and they said, oh, he's really a guy. And then when you see him as a woman, that's his sister.
Right.
So Japan, which I don't really see Japan as being overly progressive on many things.
Right.
Maybe they are. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Was more progressive in some respects on that issue.
Even Pokemon, there was an episode of Pokemon which they called the Lost episode, but they still deleted the scene where like the guy with the blue hair, what was his name? Team Rocket.
My kids would know better than I would on that one.
The Team Rocket, the guy. There's one episode in Japan where there's a beach scene, right? And then he actually takes his clothes off and he has boobs. And they're like, what's going on? I thought you were a boy. And he was like, so what? Who cares? So
yeah.
It was like a trans thing. Like all of a sudden, other episodes he was male.
Interesting.
But he's in a two-piece bikini and has boobs. And that caused America was like, no, we're not gonna air that episode. So then there was a gap in the story, like something happened here, but we didn't get that episode. And then they released it as the Lost episodes, but they delete that scene. Like that's not in there where what's his name? Not Brock, I forget his name. But anyway, he the Team Rocket guy.
Damn.
Villains actually had breasts. It's like they introduced him as a trans character where he's male.
That's wild. Yeah, in some respects it's kind of interesting because just thinking about Japan and Spain. Spain's actually probably the most forward when it comes to the LGBTQ community. You wouldn't think it because it can be very conservative in other regards. So maybe Japan shares that sort of weird duality.
Yeah, they have that weird.
But then you're kind of loose because there's. Do you remember Cowboy Bebop?
Oh yeah, I love that show.
Do you remember the episode when he's? I think it was Jupiter, and there's the guy. He's trying to track down Sid and Julia, and there's a guy because he had taken something, had messed him up, his hormones up, and he had breasts. He was a former soldier.
Right.
I'm like, holy shit! Like thinking about it now, like the way that people freak out about it. That episode probably wouldn't have even made it into Adult Swim.
Right, exactly.
And then there's, you go further back, the 80s with Robotech.
Robotech, yeah.
Not Macross, not Masters. But it was the new generation.
Yeah.
Lance was a cross-dresser.
Or even Mash Klinger, right?
Yeah, Mash Klinger. But you're talking for kids.
Yeah.
Lance pretended to be he was kind of like the Lin Min-Mei of New Generation, but he would dress up as a woman and sing, and then later on he was just a dude.
Right. It's kind of like a Madame Butterfly type of character.
Yeah, but it was really like back then I didn't give two shits. Like this is a pretty cool cartoon. Like
but the dress gives us loads of laughs. Like we crack up.
I was just kind of like, all right, that's just the character. That's his thing. Cool. How are you going to get, are you going to defeat the Invid? What's going to happen? Right. But it's funny that all of a sudden it became such a big issue. But I think the way that they did it was very slick. They didn't make it the center of the story. I think that's another big part of it. But today, how people freak out over this. It's like, it's a reality. It's there. Let's move on.
Right.
And
it's also about like child identity development when you're kids. you play both roles, trying to figure out what you are, who you are. It's kind of like the role play,
Yeah.
with like imagination. But kids don't have that because they grew up with iPads. It's like it's not really there. Like like when we didn't have computers and stuff, so or like laptops or the outside world to
They
influence.
have it in a different way. You can play a female character.
Well, there you go. Like in the video game,
You
yeah,
can play a female character. And you were talking about MASH with what's his name?
yeah,
The dude that used to dress because he was trying to get out of the military, right?
yeah. He's trying to quit. Yeah, he's trying to basically get discharged.
And they wouldn't. It's like, no,
Like,
you're okay.
like, no, you're okay.
Klinger?
Yeah, I think it was Klinger, right? Was it Klinger or Radar? One of the two guys.
One of the two. But you go back to antiquity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Achille, the great Achille, though, the great master of the manosphere.
Right.
He didn't want to fucking go to the Trojan War. And what he did, he dressed up as a woman.
Right.
To get out of it.
I want to put that in this movie, right? It's like
Yeah, well, it's the Odyssey, right? So apparently people are enjoying it, so good for them, and I don't care either way. Anyone that's fucking freaking out about the representation of people in that.
But it's like it's not even history. People are freaking out about it. It's like, dude, this is a fictional story.
Ray.
Kind of like the Bible.
Ray.
It's written around the same time, right?
Where's the representation for the real Cyclopses?
Right, exactly. Honestly, I thought the eye was too small for the Cyclops. Like, why'd they go so small? Like, why? What was it? Were they cheapening on the CGI?
Well, they didn't. They didn't use. I don't think they used CGI. Nolan was saying he got ideas from Guillermo del Toro, and I think it was a puppet.
Was it really?
Yeah, like Guillermo del Toro doesn't like using too much puppetry. I mean, he likes using puppetry more than he does CGI. He uses CGI to touch stuff up, but he feels that it gives a more realistic feeling to it.
Right.
So Nolan was saying, from what I briefly saw, that he had actually talked to Guillermo about that. So I think they created a giant puppet.
Really? Now I want to see the movie.
Which is kind of cool.
All right.
But there are parts here in France. They have a festival where they create these giant puppets.
Right.
Minotaurs and all, and not just puppets like statues, like moving ones.
Yeah. I think I've seen those with the giant girl walking and all that stuff, and she traveled all over different cities and different.
Fucking cool, but yeah, just freaking out over that. I'm more worried that people living on the streets.
Right.
I feel for them, no matter how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I don't really see myself as a practicing Christian or any of that. But I think that's instilled in me. I don't like seeing that. Not because it's like it just bothers me that any human being could end up in that position.
Right.
And that it shouldn't happen. No matter what they did and choices they made in their life, there should be a net to sort of help people.
Right.
And we don't think of that. We're worried about like men with boobs. And maybe
we're not worried about unemployment rates. We're not worried about the homeless.
It's like, wait a second, he's got boobs.
Right.
or he's no longer a he, he's a she, or he's no longer a she, he's a he. If that's what they wanted to do with their lives, and that's what they this is, I think, the core of the American spirit is you pursue your happiness.
Yeah. I mean, I think also a lot of these guys that are transgender that are shooting schools, I think they're all like MK Ultra candidates,
Well, should you say that when you read the emails between Epstein and one of the top guys pushing for the transgender side of this, I would agree, because Epstein funded a lot of that stuff, as well as he's funding fucking 4chan, basically burning everything down. But there's some email exchanges between him and this guy in which he's talking about some of his sexual preferences of making, women who are so more manly genetically, and then making men that are way more feminine. So there's some of that.
I mean, you see that also in the 90s in a lot of the Vogue magazines. And I used to get Vogue and all those fashion magazines because I had sisters in the house. And my mom had a business. So, of course, it's a write-off to have magazines in the house, like subscriptions. And we see that androgyny has been pervasive in our society. It's not new. It's been there.
It's pervasive in other societies.
Right. So it doesn't make sense that there's an attack on it now. It's just kind of like stupid.
It's like
who
all of a
cares?
sudden we're like, I don't know, it's just weird to me.
And you have all this weird stuff about like Hitler's burning the books were actually about transgenderism and all this. It's like, okay.
But here's the thing. When such a non-issue becomes an issue,
right?
I always wonder, what are you trying to take our attentions away from?
Right. Well, they're taking away our rights. I think everything, including FIFA. Like what laws are being passed around the world? What are the elites doing to take away our freedoms in place of this FIFA game? That's why I never really got heavily into sports. I can watch a game. I can appreciate the athleticism. I never understood two things, like why are they paid so much? It's like, and why they they're paraded around to distract us. They're a distraction for sure.
Yeah.
But
they get paid so much because rich people need tax write-offs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But they could do that
with clubs.
It'd be smarter to put educators to be paid like athletes. I wish I was making $3 or $4 million a year. Hey, I'm educating.
Yeah, but that would mean that the person who's getting the fucking tax write-off will have people who are educated enough to plug that tax write-off.
Or benefit from it.
Exactly. So it's like this catch-20. It's not really catch-22. It's just these assholes want to keep as much money as they can. And then on top of it, the bastards will then turn around and make all this money off of merchandise.
Right.
Off these people who
are
products.
Right.
Messi is a product. Ronaldo's a product.
Right.
It's,
what's even crazier is that a lot of these sports organizations, I don't know about Europe, but I know in America, the Yankees are considered a not-for-profit. A lot of
look into
basketball teams are not-for-profit, so they're not paying taxes.
So it's like it's a double whammy.
Right.
It's when you look at it from like, why are they getting paid so much? Your next question would be, all right, so how are the rich stuffing their money?
Right. Because they're not paying taxes. I mean, I was just saying, like, if you're a not-for-profit, right? I was at Yankee Stadium the other day with my family, and I was just like, if they're a not-for-profit, and okay, they'll have like hat day and they give away the hats, like they do giveaways, whatever. But all your funding, all your profit is coming from tax dollars. And then you're selling us shit. You're selling us hats. You're selling us shirts and jerseys. The food's fucking expensive, like fucking $5 for a bottle of water, $10 for a hot dog, $20 for a beer. It's like fucking $20 for a fucking sandwich that's half the size of a sandwich I can get at a deli outside.
A dirty water hot dog.
Right, dirty water hot dog. Yeah, it's like, wait a second, why? If my taxes you're getting tax write-offs, why isn't this shit free? Like the fucking center should be free. I'm sure when the Romans let
they were free.
They were free, right?
They were free.
They were
the
free.
It was free.
Right.
Because they knew we got to keep these guys fed and entertained
right.
for free.
For free, right? So if you're living off our tax, why aren't we getting this shit? Why are we paying for this shit?
Yeah.
Why do I need a season pass? As a New Yorker, I should be getting a free season pass all year. Like, especially to the most expensive games. These should be, you already got paid with our tax dollars and you're making profits off these products, like you said. So where's my cut? Either in the form of a check or a free, like a ticket, like a season ticket booklet or something,
And to add to your point,
so
the owners probably pay no fucking taxes, right?
Yeah, zero.
But the players probably pay more taxes.
Yes. than the owners. Yes. And that's why they have to do a lot of not-for-profit stuff themselves, like money donations, and give writing checks to these organizations to avoid that.
Yeah,
because they know they're gonna have to pay those taxes, so they have to donate it, and then get a tax credit for donating for not paying taxes. That doesn't make sense either. Like you're getting
it's such a scam that it has to build another scam,
right?
So when people say, why are they doing that? And here in Europe, my kids, they hear the teacher saying that. I said, because honey, it's called tax write-offs.
Right, tax write-offs. Yeah.
And once you answer that question, then I think we can then tackle the problem better. The problem, yet again, is the fucking or not 1%. That's too kind. The 0.01%.
Right.
That's why they buy shitty art. They don't buy it because they're like, wow,
right.
It's that technique of, spraying piss on a canvas is so great.
Duct taping a banana to a wall.
Yeah. The same guy who did that, he had an invisible statue.
You're right. He sold that one too.
And he sold it. But I give him one credit for one thing. Well, two things. One, he can hustle it. Two, because really the art isn't hustling if you're going to be an artist in that field. But two, he's doing it to expose how absurd it is.
Right.
Right. And I know a lot of people got really worked up, especially because in the comic book field, there's really a lot of talented people who are master technicians and just great artists. And we take it to heart like, fuck, why am I not making that money? Because you're not trying to be dishonest.
Right.
The art in fine arts is really, if you're really
about that too. And the Painted Word in 1975, he wrote a book on that.
Yeah, it's a scam. It's a scam.
It's just a bunch of rich people buying their friends' work. I mean, that's all it is, really.
And really hiding money.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So you all agree, okay, this painting is worth $50 million. I buy it, I donate it to a museum, and I got a tax write-off. Tom Wolfe. Yeah, that's right. Tom Wolfe.
This is where he exposes, this was written in 75, and he exposes the whole art world and like how they collect and trade art and all that stuff. And again, it's all tax write-offs.
Yeah. So I remember in my art class, my art teacher was much more of the modern art. Stuff that I had to learn in terms of traditional art, I had to do it on my own because she didn't even know how to do. She was a nice lady. She couldn't do perspective. I had to teach myself. But we always had to like look at paintings and talk about how it made us feel and all this. And back in my teenage years, I could bullshit. And my friends in my class were like, they bring up some painting. I'm like, yeah, watch this. And they're like, oh, fuck this guy. And I'd say some bullshit. And she's like, that's great. I'm like,
right.
So there's that component of it. And we don't have to take it to heart. We shouldn't take it as an insult to our art as people who really like and enjoy that. It's not for us. We shouldn't be judging our worth of our art by their money.
Right.
And I think too many of us do. I know sometimes I see Joe Jusko, who I love. I just love seeing his posts, and he was upset about one of those. And I was just like, just let it go. It's, you don't want to be really caught up in that world anyway.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of loopholes that you can benefit from, like people, like one of my cousin's husband, he owns a church, and he's like, oh, you must get tons of points with all these shows you do and all the free flight miles and all that stuff when you're traveling. And I was like, yeah, once upon a time I did do that. I used to get the free flights. I used to rack up points, the hotels, all that stuff. I said, but at some point I was just like, I didn't want to be a part of that system. And I was just like, no thanks.
Because you live for that instead of live for the other.
Right. It's like, it's not about that for me. It really is about art for the people, so I gave it up. I don't have credit cards. I don't buy into that. I don't give a shit.
Good for you, because
20 years I have a credit card,
That good for you, because that's really hard to get out of. Here they don't have credit cards.
Oh really?
Yeah, no. Here, yeah, that was a tough transition. You either have the money in your account or you don't.
Right. That's how I live. That's
Yeah.
for the last 20 years. It's just
That's all of Europe.
yeah. Yeah. It's
But
just you
on
can't
the flip side, I just want to let people know out there, those who might be fine artists, there are a lot of really great fine artists out there who are not hustling people. They're actually trying to do their art and they enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know? But the ones who are just so absurdly like, what do
Right.
you mean you just drew a line on this canvas and you sold it for 10 million?
Right.
Yeah, that's not them.
Yeah.
You know?
I had donated. You see this piece back here? I actually donated that to
Nice.
an organization for a tax write-off years ago, like maybe like 15 years ago. And it was the only piece because it has horns on it. I don't know if you can tell. It's like a
Yeah, it's just like a face and the horns.
yeah, it's like it was the only piece that wasn't sold.
Oh wow.
You know, people in the Bronx are very superstitious. They're like, what is this? It looks kind of satanic or demonic or whatever. It's like honestly, I was just not even thinking what it was about. I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. You know, I was thinking kind of like the Endless, like Sandman and the Endless, like each one of his family members had a portrait type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say, let me just make something weird, you know. And years later, they donated it back to me. Like, hey, we have this storage. You want it back?
Oh wow. Wow.
Another piece that I did with 4 paintings that were what was it on auction called remember Pussy Riot, those girls that were in that punk
Yeah,
band?
the Russian ones. Yeah.
So I did this graffiti spray paint art based on them, and it was each of the members. That one sold like that, and that was actually the same weekend. Like later on, after that event, Hurricane Sandy happened, and then the bar that it was in, there was like a bar restaurant. They did an auction in the back. It got flooded out. And some of my paintings got destroyed, but that one thankfully was still on the wall and they were fine.
Oh wow.
But for whatever reason, the bar, everything would have been fine if they just left everything on the wall, but I guess they were taking it down.
Was that 2012?
Oh my God, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because that was a big hurricane that hit New York, right?
Yeah. We got hit with some rain. There was a lot of flooding in Queens and New York and in Manhattan, flooding subway stations and stuff. But
again,
rotting infrastructure, right? It's like
rotting infrastructure.
But yeah, I just think that was a thing I used to do. I used to donate works and use as tax write-offs.
But at least it's your art.
Yeah, it's my stuff. Yeah, but
it's your stuff. You're not going over.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore though. You know,
I'm gonna buy somebody else's art,
right?
And then donate it.
right. Yeah,
because that's what the rich do. They're like, yeah, and I donated to the Met, and it's hanging on the wall, and I'm getting a tax write-off for it. That kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, what I am doing is actually selling a lot of stuff I've acquired over the years, like a lot of books, collections. Since I was a curator, I'm selling some original art that I purchased that I'm trying to.
Oh, cool.
On eBay, I sold 2.
So you're still planning on moving out?
Yeah, because I'm eventually trying to get out. I was trying to get out of here this summer, but financially, it just didn't happen.
Yeah, the housing market must be a bit tough.
Yeah, you know, it's honest. I hadn't even landed my hands on something. I'm still in the crossfires of New Jersey and Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is no state tax. New Jersey's closer to work, and then I'm like, I have about an hour commute from north to south, which is easy because there's no traffic. You know, very little. If I moved to Pennsylvania, I'd be going from south to north. And that's like immense traffic. So you're talking about, okay, like I'll trade an hour commute for an hour commute so I could not pay state taxes. But then that 1 hour commute can turn easily into 2 or 3 hours if there's an accident or congestion or, you know, whatever. So you're kind of trading off for what, really? Like just more traffic. It's like I just realized I have to have a 5-year plan of what I'm going to do. Which I'm hoping by 2030 I can retire, and then like work from home and something else, you know. But I just need to get out of education. It's like being in person and a job is just really hard, you know, especially when you're dealing with kids, you know.
Yeah, and it's sad because the kids need it.
They do need it.
But again, it's what you brought up with, you know, why aren't teachers paid better?
Yeah.
I personally think everyone in every country should at least teach even for a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
I think by that point, the people who start to make the decisions
Right.
in the Senate and other places would be like, oh, fuck no. I know
Right.
what they go through.
Right.
Because I had to deal with it.
Right.
And yeah, they need to be paid well. Because,
Yeah.
you know, I always respect the teachers because I've had family members that were professors and stuff. But having to teach in Spain, teach English as a second language, like kids and teenagers and shit,
Mm-hmm.
I have the highest respect for your profession.
Oh, thank you.
Because I've been in this profession myself.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Like the patience that you have to have,
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to put through getting people to learn,
Yeah.
dealing with their problems from home, dealing with parents.
Yeah, it's like being a psychologist.
It's like being a village leader,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and sadly, it's undervalued because we look to millionaires and billionaires and all these people who are successful at these great things.
We're born into it, basically. The
Some
genetic.
but some who were raised made it. Like, you know, I
Mhm.
have utmost respect for people like Prince and Michael Jackson and stuff because they worked hard for it.
Mhm.
But they give us a lot of joy. But teachers are special.
Mhm.
You know, teachers are special because they're the ones who shape our future.
Mhm.
And they should be just as revered, you know.
Yeah, they're not. This country, in New Jersey, they don't even pay teachers for the summer off. In New York, they do. So you're
Well,
allowed to go on vacation for 2 months because you get a full paycheck. But in New Jersey, you get zero. If you don't allocate that money outside your check, you're basically making nothing. And then I used to allocate, but I stopped because I realized, oh, they're taxing me again. Granted, they take the money out before taxes when you get your check, but then they tax that portion. And I'm just like, well, it's almost like being taxed twice, you know? So I
yeah.
was like, you know, I'm not an accountant, but if you paid one salary, right, one check, right, and then you're
Mhm.
taking money out, separating it before taxes, and they're like, yeah, it makes sense to tax it, but you're still taxing it in that taxable, you know, that same credit thing. So I'm actually making less money. So I was actually saving more money by not doing it, just separating it myself, you know, which is what I did. But you know,
I wish I could say that teachers here, yes, are treated better than the U.S. The unions are stronger, but they haven't really had a wage raise since the 80s.
Yeah.
So they're fighting here too, and in Spain, everywhere.
Mhm.
Teachers are just not seeing. I mean, they want to bring in AI. That's how disrespectful they are to the profession.
Here, yeah, they already piloted AI in several states. You know?
When other countries are moving away completely from computers.
Right. It's like they're trying to bring back slavery. They want to make America great again. You know.
The thing is that
You know?
We're run by idiots. And
Yeah.
granted, they're short-sighted idiots because it does work in the short for them quite well. The long
Right.
run, not so well.
Yeah, this guy was like complaining about movies and comics because, you know, Marvel Comics just moved to California.
Burbank, right?
Yeah, and you know, Disney already fired 1,000 workers, so you know they're just moving people because they know that not everyone's going to move to California, and then those who do move, they'll eventually cut them off. Like DC did the same thing, right? So like, oh, thanks for help moving with us. You're so loyal, and now you're fired. it's like, so you know it's gonna follow suit. But there's one guy's like, well, you know, that's because the comic books are so political now, and there's like activism in it. There's some shithead on Facebook, and he's like, and you know, that's what ruined comics was activism and politics. And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? I was like, comic books have always had politics in it. You and I always say this. I said that goes back. I said, and before that, comic strips have been political since the inception of our nation. Comic strips inspire revolutions.
Yeah.
The American Revolution. I'm sure the French Revolution had some cartoonists that
Oh, they would draw. Well, I don't know the cartoonists themselves, but they would draw like the royals
yeah,
just gorging themselves on
right,
food, and
right. It's
yeah, like I
that.
think
That is our tool. It is to be that.
I think that's a very Anglo-Saxon perspective. I
Mhm.
think, and I always thought about this. Why did comics become more commonplace and much more seen as an art form in both Spanish-speaking and French-speaking nations?
Mhm.
This is gonna sound crazy. Religion.
Mhm.
Catholicism's okay with like you drawing Jesus and all that shit.
Right.
Protestantism was like, let's remove that. That's lower.
Right.
Reading is more important, the word.
Right.
So when it comes to comics, it can never be brought up to the same level as literature in
Right.
the Protestant mindset because that's seen as a lower form,
Right.
not just like another medium.
Mhm.
And we see it as just junk entertainment.
Right.
And that's a problem because any means of communication, if you got, it goes with art. If you got crayons, you can create a Da Vinci if you've got the talent,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's not really the tools themselves. I mean, the tools can help, but
Right.
it's the person behind those tools.
Right.
But you have these people who want to have little safe spaces.
Yeah.
So, for example, the guy who played Gollum caused a huge controversy because the current series they're going to make, there's no people of color. And he was saying something about being woke. My ears always perk up when someone says woke because that's a dog whistle for some other shit.
Yeah. Exactly. And
And
mind you, the Amazon show, they got a lot of shit for because they had people of color on it.
and here's
It's a
where
great
something,
series.
yeah, and here's something that fantasy people who might even be left wing,
Mhm.
fantasy has been forever and a day a safe white space.
Mhm.
When we're introduced into it, they feel like that white safe space is encroached. So then they pull out the card of, but the source material, it's made up.
Right.
Now, here's the other thing. Lord of the Rings inspired the far right in Italy.
Right.
And when I see Lord of the Rings, and I love Lord of the Rings, but there's the other side where I could be very heavily critical.
Right.
For those of you who might not know about Spain's Reconquista,
Mhm.
which is the reconquering of Spain, Christians versus Moors, which is still a thing they celebrate in Spain. When I see Lord of the Rings, I see an Anglo-Saxon version
Right.
of Christians versus Moors.
Right. Right. Right.
And there is a fascist component to it and
Yes.
fascist civilizations to it that
Yes.
is highly problematic.
Right.
Miyazaki can't stand Lord of the Rings.
Right.
He fucking hates it.
Mhm.
Why would he? Because he's from the East.
Right. Exactly.
Where does the evil? And people say, well, you know, how could you say that? Mordor,
Right.
Los Moros, the
Right.
Moors,
The Moors. Yeah.
Aragorn, the House of Aragon, which
Yes.
is the main house of the Christian side.
Mhm.
If you cannot see this, you're an Anglo-Saxon.
Right.
For those of us from Southern Europe,
Right.
we look at that and we're like, okay, this is fun, but yeah, that's a little fashy.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some fascist stuff in it.
And the elves are like they're like the
Elegant Aryans.
Aryans, like Hitler's perfect humans, you know. And
Yes.
I always notice that the evil ones, the orcs, look very native, right? You
Very
know,
dark.
very dark. They're dark
Um,
skinned.
And the thing is,
They
Tolkien
literally
did-
made them black, and the original cartoon just had them looking more like natives. Fire and Ice had that too, like all the natives are the bad guys.
and you know, Tolkien, for to his credit, he did come out and say he didn't intend that.
Right.
But he's a man from another era. He's South African.
Mhm.
And art is a weird thing because some shit can come out in your art. You're like,
Sure.
oh, I didn't know these biases. I had these biases.
Right.
Right.
Well, and he probably lived in apartheid South Africa, right? So
Yeah, well, he was there as a kid, then grew up in England, converted to Catholicism, and was a good friend with a Spanish priest. And because of what happened to the nuns during the Spanish Civil War, he ended up supporting Franco because of his Catholicism. From my perspective, I have some issues with that too.
Right.
I'm not going to fully condemn him because he probably didn't know what the fuck was going on. He was a very isolated man.
Right.
But yeah, there's problems with all the shit that we consume. And as artists, we have to recognize that. We can be fanboys, but we can also go, okay, let me let me do the hard work of just cutting this shit up a bit.
Right.
So I can become a better artist. I can make sure that shit doesn't come out my stuff. And I don't repeat the same shit that was put before me because it makes a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah, there's problems with that. And by the way, even in the book, remember Aragon goes off and frees all these people by sea?
Right, right.
Oh, guess who ended up freeing Italy and Greece? Or not freeing them, but pushing out the Moors there.
Right.
The House of Aragon.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That's how Spain gets its hooks into Sicily, Naples. So yet again, when I'm seeing this shit, I'm like, dude just looked at the reconquest of Spain, added some elves.
Right.
It's just like, oh man. But I enjoy it for what it is.
So the dwarves, what do you think? You think they're the money lenders, the Jews?
Yeah.
They have some of that stigma in there.
There's a little bit of that stigma.
Yeah.
The
he had this anti-Semitic.
I mean, even fucking Middle Earth.
Gorging,
Even the name Middle Earth.
Yeah.
What does Mediterranean translate to?
No, there you go.
Middle Earth.
Exactly.
So it's like, and I've had arguments with some Spanish fans, like, oh no, stop a moment and really look at what he's telling you.
Really, yeah.
That doesn't mean that I won't watch it.
Right.
But, and for those who are on the left who are like, because I've seen some people, oh, thankfully now we don't have any black people in this. Don't turn around and complain about the white nationalists.
Right, exactly.
Because you got that component in you.
Right, exactly. And that we're at 6 minutes over time, so we're going to wrap this up. And I wanted to end it with a little FIFA, since someone's like,
oh yes, FIFA. Big game.
We'll talk about like this Messi guy over here. I got a little video over here. Look at this, which is like,
oh, Messi.
Messi's a mess. Here we go.
Oh, Messi.
Here we go. I'm going to end with this video here. Here we go.
All right.
Ready, set.
Observa atentamente cómo los jugadores se dan cuenta de la verdad de Messi. Miren acá. Qatar 2022. Manazo de Messi. Mínimo amarilla. Mínimo amarilla. Manazo. En cuartos de final y no le saca nada. Como que levanta y dice que se da cuenta de algo raro quizás. Y acá Salah, le pitan a Salah y que en la cara se da cuenta de que sí, muchas veces favorecen más a Argentina que a otros equipos.
He got so robbed. They had that look.
Right? It's just like, what the fuck? Not even a red card. Like, what the fuck?
No. I thought you were going to show something on Messi's ties to Israel.
Oh, I did have that video somewhere.
Yeah, that part is really sad, actually.
Yeah. That was another.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about it because we're going to have the fallout from this.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm hoping Spain wins. If they don't, I feel like they won anyway. That's the way I view it. They made it far. They're all 19-year-olds. Argentina wins. They're not going to win the public.
Right.
There's a lot of anti-Argentina hate out there. Some from what the video that you just showed is caused by that.
Yeah.
Others by their asshole fans. Some of their racism. Some their players.
Just smacking the ball. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, dude, got away. What? But I don't know if you remember Maradona.
Yeah.
How they won the World Cup against England. It's called the Hand of God. And if you see it, You look it up. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. He has his hand like this, and he's hitting the ball with this. He's basically spiking it into the net.
It's like, you're not a fucking goalie. What the fuck?
Oh yeah. There's some crazy shit.
Like, is he confusing volleyball with soccer? Like,
He got away with it. They won the World Cup.
That's fucking ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But at the time, and I would chuckle about it. I was like, that's fucking outrageous. I just laugh because it's like the Brits get so worked up about it.
Yeah.
But they had given such a beating to the Argentinians, who shouldn't have attacked this place of the Falkland Islands at the time, that it was their only little revenge they got. They won a World Cup, right?
Right.
But this time, Messi, they pushed Messi so much on us that I think there's a natural rejection of Messi, especially all these favorable calls.
Well, it's kind of like the Patriots in American football. Like, they can't stand that other guy who's like, and they said Taylor Swift and all this shit. It's
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, it's sort of. But it's worse. Imagine on an international scale. And it's the thing is that Argentinians didn't always like Messi.
Mm-hmm.
He quit in 2016 because they hated his fucking guts.
Really? Wow.
So then Infantino came in, and then he got hired. He came back from retirement. So it's not like he's always loved.
Right. No.
But there's a lot of anti-Argentina hate out there.
Right.
I can understand.
I'm new to it, so I'm kind of just discovering it. Just because I'm not really a big sports person.
Right. Well, it kind of blends into other issues. Like I know a lot of South Americans do not get along with Argentinians.
Right. A lot of political stuff. Yeah.
It's mostly like you guys don't even think you're Latino. Like you think you're European, and a lot of them do. Even if they look indigenous, yeah, it's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just messed up. And I've known a lot of sweet Argentinians.
I think in Brazil too, right? You got a lot in Brazil. You have a lot of the dark-skinned Brazilians versus the lighter-skinned Brazilians, and
Yeah, there's that. But Brazil has the toughest laws on racism on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a racist act, you can go to jail.
That's good.
And you can't pay your way out of it, and it's retroactive. So there is no statute of limitations on it. So there's actually been a few Argentinians who've gone to jail in Brazil.
Wow.
But yeah, they have some problems. My thing is you stop being racist, everybody will love you again.
Right. Exactly.
That's it.
It's that simple.
Problem solved. Problem solved. So.
Yeah. So it was always good talking to you, Miguel. But we're gonna wrap this up.
Likewise.
And this was like flawless. We just literally slid right 3 hours right there, real quick.
We started with FIFA. We ended with FIFA.
There you go. Nice little bookend. Well, it's good to see you. Wrapping it up. Episode 42 in the can. Don't forget to
subscribe and punch that like button.
There you go. There you go.
The apocalypse is coming. Are you scared? Are you prepared? The masses are running, frantically running from their fears, running with their tears, running from their lives, running from that dark shadowed creature